takes to start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, tower of talent, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother.
The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares are the best part of my day.
The goods from the wood.
Hot damn.
Welcome to the Goods from the Woods. My name is Rivers Langley.
I am Pat Riley.
I'm just looking at the man of the hour, the tower power, too sweet to be sour.
And today we are so thrilled to welcome our friend back to the podcast.
Mr. Luke Jensen.
Yeah.
Can I call myself Mr.? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think this is the third appearance, if I'm not wrong.
I believe so.
I think that's right.
What before?
Well, third solo appearance. We did Star Wars with Luke.
That was the Arla one.
We did action movies with Luke.
Yep.
We're on this episode. Those are the three solo appearances. And then as part of What Did You Learn, we also talked about Beyond the Mat and Wrestling with Shadows.
Oh, there was
Oh,
another.
yeah.
And then
we did
were
a
all at the
Thanksgiving
barbecue.
crossover.
And then we had
yeah.
a Thanksgiving crossover,
yeah.
and we had a cookout crossover episode as well. So
What is this, like 7 or something?
Yeah.
Literally 4% of our episodes feature like Luke Jensen in some capacity.
yeah, that's right. But yeah, so we're stoked to have you back on, and this is episode number 199. 199. And what does 199 remind me of? It reminds me of the most implicitly funny year. 1999.
Yeah. Unintentionally hilarious.
Implicitly funny stretch too,
Yeah.
Rivers, because you are off by almost 1,000 numbers.
Yeah, you know, we're playing it fast and loose with the numbers. I don't.
Well, by almost 2,000.
Yeah.
You're quicker with math.
1999 was like, we didn't have any idea how good we had it in 1999.
No.
Like, we were like living high on the hog, and we were just like, you know what? We are so high on the hog. Let's invent things to just like make the year worse.
Yeah.
Bad music, bad movies, whatever. I mean, this year.
I swear the whole pre-9/11 world, I think, was like that.
Yeah, it's like we didn't know how good we had it, so we just sabotaged it with popular culture. It's like when you're living high on the hog, you just, you can't enjoy things.
It was such a time where everybody felt like the future was about to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where they're
Yeah.
like 6 months from now, it's going to be the future.
Yeah, and then it
some
did.
nebulous future.
It did, and it stunk, except the music still stunk, and the popular culture was even worse, and everything else was much worse, too.
Well, one thing I in the course of researching this episode, because I have done, as you can see, I actually have real paper here. I've done.
Is this a deep dive?
This is a deep dive
I don't
into
know if we can
1999.
say like a deep dive of a year, because this would be like enough for a whole series.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But this is as close to a deep dive as you can get for an entire year. Is the amount of research I've done here. And one of the things that I kept thinking as I start reading about just different things that happened this year, politically things that happened or in culture or whatever, like 1999 in so many ways sowed the seeds of what we are now reaping just as a culture. First of all, this is the year that Yeltsin went out and Putin came in.
Yeah.
Something that nobody really thinks about, like, oh, that one glimmer of hope, replacing authoritarianism with a fun drunk,
Yeah.
And going back to
and then going back to a hardline authoritarianism, in the mold of pick your fucking dipshit. But yeah, starting there, you've got
Eloquent.
the Kosovo War.
You remember with the war in Kosovo and to a larger extent the problems in the Balkans that happened throughout the 1990s. They were really pushing that and the equivalent and the equivalent storyline with World War I. Like people were like, this happened vaguely and this happened in this region. And this is going to set off World War III.
When Bosnia makes the news, it's not often. So you really have to do it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there wasn't all those entangling alliances between the big European powers like there was.
Right. It was just, oh God, what was the guy's name?
Slobodan Milosevic.
There we go. Yeah.
What a name that guy had.
Slobo.
Slobodan. Sounds like a dinosaur.
It does. Sounds like a really messy dinosaur, too.
Just a dinosaur that has just barbecue sauce all
He
over.
slobbers all over himself.
Sounds like a dinosaur like wearing a tracksuit with like a white tank top.
Talking about Boondock Saints.
Yeah, but 1999, hilarious year.
A very funny year. I mean, as I was
Yeah.
going down, there was just so much stuff that kept popping out at me that I figure we're going to just start at the top and we're going to run this down. Starting with, I got interested in Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve.
So you're a Dick Clark guy. I'm a Guy Lombardo guy. So I've never forgiven Dick Clark for rocking up the new year like that.
But I went back to try to like look, and weirdly enough, like there's almost no resources to see who performed on Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, like year by year. You would think that would be a nice like time capsule of the time,
Because no one wants to remember. It's like oh, I rung in the new year with whoever they pulled out. You know, it's just like, oh yeah, I just rung in 1989 with Milli Vanilli and whoever. You know,
Watching Dick Clark drop his balls all over New York.
yeah, I know.
but I did find. So this is from December 31st, 1998.
Where were we in 1999? How like?
So I was in Auburn, Alabama. I was, I think I was 12 at the time. And and I was at Tumor's Corner, running around with a video camera because I was super into Tom Green, which we'll hit on in just a moment.
Oh,
here.
yes.
I was 9 years old in Fargo, North Dakota. What was that, like fourth grade? Yeah, because I remember I was in fifth grade during Y2K.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
doing
boy.
that whole thing. Well, I'm sure we'll get to that towards the end of the podcast.
That's towards the end, yeah.
I was a grown adult. I was at least 25. I'm not going to reveal what I was doing for a living or whatever, but I lived around Richmond at the time. Actually, I think this is the year I moved to. I lived in Ashland, Virginia.
Oh, okay.
And I was how old was I when this came around? I guess I was 14, going on 15. So in the prime throes of puberty and awkwardness, and
Oh boy, and
Yeah.
vitamin C came along to jumpstart your
and
libido.
let me tell you something.
Put a smile on your face.
1999 was a really bad year to go to high school in because the popular culture was hideous, you know. So it's like you were like we were being marketed to so heavily, people in my age group at that time, and boy, not a lot of great quality to pick from.
For me, the 90s really went downhill is when they started advertising everything to people younger than my age group. So
Right,
instead of
right.
Soundgarden and Nirvana, everything became like Hanson and the Spice Girls and shit.
And by the way, I am dressing a bit anachronistically. I am dressed like mid-90s Gwen Stefani right now. So I look like I jumped out of the Spiderwebs music video. So I'm about 4 years off with this outfit. But
I did just want to say I wanted to just play this one little clip from the from Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve because as I was watching it, I was like, you know, there's nothing particularly 1999 about this clip. It just kind of dragged on, and I was like, God, this could have been any year.
1999 was the
blend
last year
together
that
like
anybody had a Discover card.
That's a fair point. But then all of a sudden, seemingly out of nowhere, there's the dancing baby.
No.
Yeah, I was watching. I was like, God, this could have been last year. I mean, except for the fact Dick Clark is alive. This could have been last year. This could have been 1942. And then the fucking dancing baby from Ally McBeal danced across the
It
screen.
wasn't even Ally McBeal. It was like
was an early
all over
meme.
the place.
It was
Yeah.
an early
It was a
meme.
GIF, early GIF.
We've had the internet way too damn long, man. Talk about all the way back 1999. There was these stupid things back then.
I feel like at that point in like graphics technology, that tiny little animation took somebody like 6 months
It
to make.
blew. I'm not gonna lie. It blew my fucking mind.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
I saw it on a computer, I had a Windows 95 Gateway 2000. Came with the printer. Came with the monitor.
Yeah.
And I remember pulling up a website and after it loaded for 5 minutes over the 56K or probably less modem, I just finally saw the baby and I was like, this is amazing.
I think it became super popular because if I remember correctly, it was in a Blockbuster video ad with hooked on
Also very
a
1999.
with hooked on a feeling in the background. You know, hooked on a feeling.
Did that happen before or after Ally McBeal?
Before,
Because that's
Ally
exactly
McBeal.
what happens in Ally McBeal. Is she like is
Yeah.
I think McBeal was coasting.
Yeah,
on
it was.
Okay,
it was a reference to that. But that
Okay.
was so. It was Dancing Baby, that commercial, and then it was just like the floodgates were open, and yeah, it was really bad.
and then it was everywhere.
It was everywhere. It was ubiquitous. It was, yeah.
Was that sort of like the beginning of that kind of that computer generated animation?
It would have had to have been. I mean, that was.
The internet was full of those. The sawhorses.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, the under construction sites.
Oh yeah,
Clip art and all that.
Yeah. GeoCities,
Angel Fire, all that,
Mahir, I Kiss You, all that sort of stuff. It's like, it's
Those really were the good old days of the internet, man. When everybody on the internet was anonymous instead of everybody knowing exactly where you were because of the internet.
Yeah, or everybody was just saying, okay, which celebrity's going to eat balls? Like, that's essentially like the conundrum. It's like, which celebrity is going to eat balls? And it was...
will it be Chewbacca?
Yeah, it's
will
like,
I
got this
General
free...
Burkhalter.
I got this free Angel Fire site, and let me tell you what... I'm going to get some thinking on, and then D. Snyder is going to eat balls.
Or then if you get tired of it, it'd become like Mark's Boba Fett fan page.
Oh my God. There was one called Xpage, EXPAGE, xpage.com, and you could start a website within 3 seconds, and it would just be xpage.com/whatever. And that, in a way, and I've never even vocalize this out loud. I'm just thinking about it now. It was almost the Twitter of its time, because there were entire websites where it was like, Mark is really gay. xpage.com/ whoever. And then it would get around the school. It was like, dude, did you see that, Jim made that website about Mark and said he was gay? And it was like the original social media bullying in a way, but it came with, and you could select like a star field as the background or a brick wall.
Sure.
And then for the GIFs, I remember there was a rotating skull and bones that was super badass that everybody put on there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And then you could put a MIDI in the background, like Rebel Yell, or
MIDIs were the most hilarious thing. You could find MIDIs for like Anarchy in the UK and all these songs. It was so funny.
Oh, dude, I had MIDIs.
Thunder Kiss 65, so you can have that in the background for your Rob Zombie Ate My Balls website.
I had the MIDI for the Wolfpack.
Very, very much of the era.
That really aggressive snare.
Yeah, I mean, this
Fucking
was
ridiculous.
1999 was the attitude era of the world. So
that is a pull quote if I've ever seen one. So one of the first things, and I'd forgotten that this happened. I swear I thought this had happened the year before, but it was because the single came out at the end of the year. But January 12th, 1999 was the release of Britney Spears' first album, Baby One More Time. Right. So when this came out, and this is the thing that's going to come up again later, the title of this song is fucking weird, and the reason that a lot of the pop music that was coming out of this time was written by Swedish people. Like, Swedish songwriters crafted most of NSYNC's big hits, most of the Backstreet Boys' big hits, and this song too.
I believe that, because all these songs sound like they're written by people who never visited the planet Earth.
Well, so
were they connected in some way with the machine that created Ace of Base?
I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the guys from Ace of Base.
It really might have been, but so this is from John Seabrook's book, The Song Machine. He explains that this track in particular had Swedish writers Max Martin and Rami Ukeb, and they believe that the word hit was American slang for call, as in hit me back. And so Hit Me Baby One More Time is about call me back.
Yeah.
Which I read that.
I never knew that.
I don't think anybody did.
Yeah.
We're going to get into talking about Millennium by the Backstreet Boys in a second, and I'm going to blow your fucking mind with the Swedish shit on that one, because that's some real crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But so
And if they got it right, Carly Rae Jepsen wouldn't have had a career. Holy shit, everybody!
But the label that they were on, she was on Jive Records.
Yeah.
And this is hilarious. It says the song had originally been called Hit Me Baby One More Time, but Spears' label Jive felt a bit uncomfortable about the suggestion of abuse and removed Hit Me from the title. And so originally it was just going to be Baby One More Time, which is like way more suggestive.
Right.
Yeah. So but yeah, just thought I would throw that in there.
Bro, when the Rolling Stone magazine came out I think in 1999.
Dear God,
with Britney Spears on it.
Holding
it was,
the Tinky Winky.
Yeah,
shawl.
and she was wearing the Joe boxer shorts.
I can close my eyes and picture it exactly.
No,
right now.
but I mean,
What else are you doing to it?
But it's it was one of those things that my school had a directive where they banned that issue of Rolling Stone magazine because guys would just like have it, pass it around class, and cut it out and put them in the plastic little sheet protector of their 3-ring binders and stuff. Yeah, that was like a very ubiquitous image, and it was scandalous because we had nothing real to complain about. Although it was kind of like
for me, though, Britney Spears was sort of a turning point.
Yeah,
it wasn't the first time that dudes had all said, "Oh wow, have you seen this new female singer? She's sexy."
Right? Yeah, that's
in in the '80s. Everybody wanted to fuck Madonna.
Yeah, of course.
But the difference was in the 90s, guys would go out and buy the fucking single and say, oh, I really like Hit Me Baby One More Time.
Right.
Nobody in the 80s went out and was like, oh, man, have you heard Dress Me Up in My Love?
And the thing that's crazy is that Nile Rodgers produced that, and that's a dude from Chic. This was pronounced by some Swedish dudes in a computer algorithm.
I agree. If the dudes had listened to the Madonna music, some of it was actually good. But this Britney Spears shit was like children's music. It sounded like, and I think it wasn't it a leftover song that the Spice Girls would have had if they had still been popular at that point?
It was. I think it was originally written for them. Yeah, that's exactly right.
See, in the middle of the 90s, we had all this like grunge and gangsta and all these like street kind of things. Then it became like these manufactured pop stars.
Yeah.
I feel like Britney Spears is the most iconic of those, but I feel like at the same time, Christina Aguilera was more suggestive than Britney Spears.
Well,
by a wide margin.
I mean, the Genie in the Bottle is about a clitoris.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
She had more legit talent, I think, than Britney Spears.
Right. So, I mean, it was the thing, like, going through this is like, you just forget how much shit was packed into this one year. Britney Spears happened in January. Christina Aguilera happened in August. And by the end of the year, you also had Mandy Moore and Jessica Simpson. Like, all four of those, like...
Hoku Ho is in the mix.
If those two were first, they would have been bigger because they were both hotter than Britney Spears.
I mean, there was so many, like, lost, like... Hoku Ho was another one. There was all the boy bands, so like 5 and 98 Degrees,
right,
and
right.
LFO.
Oh, we're going to talk about LFO.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is that this is the important point. This was the best commercial year of the music industry ever.
This was the absolute
zenith of the recording industry.
Yep.
Like, this was the peak of the American recording industry was 1999. And if you think of what was being generated by this recording industry, it would blow your freaking mind.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you'd think that the peak of the recording industry was like the 1960s when all these great bands were out here.
I think inflation had something to do with that, though, because this was right before Napster. And one of the reasons why Napster became big is album prices by the end of the 90s were pushing $20 if you went to an expensive place to get a new CD.
I remember going to the Virgin Megastore in Orlando at downtown Disney.
Hell yeah, dude.
And paying like $23 for Now That's What I Call Music Volume 3.
Frank, you know my brother Frank? you know how cheap Frank is, right?
Yeah, of
Frank
course.
would still get stuff on tape. So Frank had things like Californication and Kid Rock Devil Without a Cause on tape because it was cheaper.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Man. So just to we're going to come back to music over and over in this episode, but just to switch away from it for a second and then kind of go right back into it.
Okay.
January 1999 also saw the premiere of The Tom Green Show. Premiered in January of 1999.
This is the Tom Green Show. It's not the Green Tom Show. This is my favorite show because it is my show. It's the Tom Green Show.
I'm using the bathroom during this segment 'cause that's how much I had
the
to do with it.
American premiere.
Right, yeah, it had been on in Canada for years. The
It was
American
on the Comedy Network in Canada for
right, yeah,
for
like
years.
the American version was literally just a chopped up different version of what had been on TV in Canada. Like it's what's kind of remarkable about it is that like almost all of it was repurposed.
Yeah.
Like they shot almost nothing new.
Well, it's the same thing with Jackass too, because a lot of the stuff, the half of Jackass was stuff that they recorded for it, and the other half was clips from like CKY videos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it was stuff they recorded for the Big Brother magazine.
Oh,
and then stuff they did for CKY, which is why Volume 1 of like Season 1 of Jackass took so damn long to come to DVD. It's because they had to settle rights across a bunch of different platforms. But yeah, when
Tom Green was so big.
Can I now bring this up? Was the Bum Bum song in 1999?
Fucking yes. That's the craziest shit. So we're talking about January of 1999 is when this guy starts. By August of 1999, he had the #1 song on TRL. Like literally walked out of the snow in Canada. I didn't know who the fuck this guy was. And then suddenly he was like within less than 8 months was fucking everywhere.
I remember thinking the Bum Bum song was amazing when it came out, but like you think back to it, I mean, even at the time, it should have been obvious, just like how dumb it is. Like
it was great because it was kind of. It might have genuinely been the first time that I ever had like a part of me activated that I still think about all the time, which is like just like taking whatever's happening and then just the joy of like just tearing it down with the dumbest thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
Which TRL at the point, I mean, we're talking about like the height of the music industry, right? 1999.
Yeah.
The summer of 1999 especially. I'm going to go down the list of all the shit that came out that summer. It's crazy. Yeah. And at the end of the summer, you have this weird comedian from Canada just being like, I did the stupidest thing you can fucking imagine.
My bum is on the gum. My bum is on the gum. I can blow a bubble with my bum bum bum. My bum is on the ship, the battleship. I hope they don't shoot the cannon in my bum. Shoot poo all over the place. Poo, cause that isn't very fun when they shoot a cannon in your bum. I like to put my bum on things. It's fun for everyone.
And that was so fucking cool to me watching it because I was like, yeah, fuck all this shit. This guy rules.
I remember when the first episode of Tom Green Show appeared on MTV. It changed the comedy dynamic of 9th grade, 10th grade.
Oh my God, yeah.
At my high school.
Oh, people talk about, the Beatles singing I Want to Hold Your Hand. I'm talking about a man on his knees sucking a cow udder, and Sanford Middle School was never the same.
Yeah. The mustard inspector? Come on. Like, the mustard, like... Just 14 and 15-year-olds covered in mustard,
was laying waste to the cafeteria
because it was that show. It did so much harm.
I will never. For me, it was nothing but positive. I have nothing bad to say about Tom Green. He is an absolute hero of mine to this day.
I remember there was the
Slutmobile is the funniest thing anyone's ever done.
That is very funny.
For the kids listening at home, if you never saw it, Tom Green was a Canadian comedian who fucked with his parents in addition to doing a bunch of other ridiculous shit. He stole his dad's car.
The original Bam Margera.
Yeah. Dude, Bam Margera stole everything from Tom Green.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, he stole his dad's car and took the hood to like a pinstripe airbrush guy who painted a naked lady on the front with the the word slutmobile.
It was, if I remember correctly, it was not just a naked woman. It was a woman exposing herself in a very graphic way. If I recall correctly, there was another woman on it too.
Oh, were there two?
Approaching her in a loving way, and underneath it in script it said "slutmobile."
Slutmobile.
And the whole bottom of the hood was pixelated, like mosaic.
Right, yeah. You couldn't see anything of it. And the best thing about Tom Green's parents was they no-sold everything because they're the most like sweet Canadian people. Yeah. He's just like, well, I hope you're going to change it back. Like, he was just very chill about it. And you could tell he was furious, but like,
I remember the one where he put all the animals, the barnyard animals in their house. And Tom Green's dad,
plaid.
His dad came in and he's just like, "Oh, Tom, I think I'll go over here and pet the llama." It was like the show was just
the other great one, by the way.
That show was terrible.
For his parents' anniversary. He made statues of them having anal sex and put them in the front yard.
Yeah, that's the one he sold because he stomped it.
So he got
done with this.
Yeah, it was not. Yeah, the show was like. It empowered kids to be absolutely obnoxious terrorists.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of like trends that started like in 1999, there was a bunch of them. Like we already talked about, like computer animation.
Yep.
I'm sure we'll get around to like share and auto tuning.
Yes, yeah.
And then like this whole style of comedy. There's Tom Green and Jackass that we talked about, which spins off into all of the like spin-offs of Jackass, Viva La Bam.
That's what I was saying. Like what YouTubers are now was absolutely the genesis of that.
Or like, do you remember like Kenny versus Spenny? I feel like is spawned from this basically.
Yeah, the comedy of like reality fuckery.
Yeah,
which is not good.
Well, when obviously projected out through time and space and amplified the way it has.
Jackass is great because it has good music. So
It's
got
proved
good
to be pretty
tunes.
bad, but God, it was so groundbreaking at the time. For me, anyway. So
Again, I was a grown-up folks, so I had nothing to do with any of
The
the
one
garbage.
thing that I did think was amazing was the interview. There's one episode where he interviewed Janine Garofalo.
Oh, God.
And she just like tore into Glenn Humplick the entire time.
Just shit on Glenn.
Yeah, and then at the end, he's like, "All right, it's time for the big finale," and he pulls out like a snare drum, and he just does a drum roll, and then out of nowhere comes a guy in an Evel Knievel costume on a kid's bike, hitting a ramp and falling into a kiddie pool of oatmeal. And then flinging it into the crowd off of his cape, and he's like, "All right, it's the end of the show," and it's just like,
yeah. So
Yeah.
if you've never checked out the Tom Green Show before,
Don't.
go to YouTube, look at it. It's important, man. I just wanted to throw
I
this
can
in.
do the snake.
I wanted to.
I can do the snake.
There was one where he was standing on a hill with a bunch of ceramic pigs, just going, "I'm gonna throw the piggy off the hill."
Oh, God.
And then he just starts throwing. Stupid, so stupid. I loved it.
What would you say was like the prevailing comedy that basically Tom Green killed?
I remember being in high school. It used to be like the insult comedy or like the roasting comedy where it's like, all right, you're going to like make fun of something, the roasting people. It used to be roasting people or like small pranks.
Yeah.
After Tom Green, it was just like, I'm going to shove all of these markers up my nose and try and do the worm in the middle of biology class.
Big Mouth Billy Bass.
Whoa.
I love the specificity of the Wikipedia article. Big Mouth Billy Bass is an animatronic singing prop representing a largemouth bass, invented on December 16th, 1998, and sold January 1st, 1998.
They have the exact invention.
That's what I mean. I'm just like, is there the guy who invented Big Mouth Billy Bass is like, the world will know this date?
Well, no, it's probably the patent application.
Yeah, I suppose so.
that somebody went to the patent office and is like, I have this idea, right?
Yeah.
I got all this taxidermy fish, but I really wanted it to sing.
Take me to the river.
I want it to sing. You really got a hold on me.
Well, anyway, here's my prototype. It's a fish with a tape recorder inside of it.
It's a talk boy. No, and by the way, Al Green supposedly made more money from licensing "Take Me to the River" for Big Mouth Billy Bass than he ever made at any other. For
It
any
was
other
Take Me
thing.
to the River? Okay.
Yeah, it was "Take Me to the River."
Did you have a Big Mouth Billy Bass good night?
No, I didn't spend that much money in my house. I had like old Colt 45 ads and stuff that I got from the liquor store.
Nice.
That I hung up on the walls.
I was just trying to see if there was like anything recent regarding Big Mouth Billy Bass, and I did find something from just last month. A Florida man was arrested yesterday after allegedly striking his boyfriend in the head with a Big Mouth Billy Bass. Officers were called Sunday afternoon to a resident in Sebastian, Florida.
Oh, Sebastian. Hell yeah. It's close to where I'm from.
In connection with a reported domestic battery. Upon arriving at the home, cops found Larry Timmerman with a laceration on his head. An injury the victim said was caused by a Big Mouth Billy Bass thrown at him by Gregory Carney, age 54. In interviews with Timmerman and Carney, cops determined that the men who have been domestic partners for 17 years have been quarreling earlier that day. Carney went into the den and began playing with a singing fish. Timmerman said that Carney, quote, continued doing this just to aggravate him.
Was he having a tea party with it? How do you play with a Big Mouth Billy Bass?
He did it just to aggravate him, and after having to endure several Big Mouth Billy Bass performances, Timmerman, 52, quote, removed the singing fish from the wall and placed it in the trash. When Carney discovered the novelty item was missing from the wall, he quizzed Timmerman on its whereabouts, and when Timmerman responded that he had thrown Billy Bass in the trash, Carney became angry and retrieved it from the garbage and threw it at his boyfriend.
I shit you not. I can think of 4 different restaurants in Sebastian that actually have Big Mouth Billy Basses on the wall.
These guys don't eat there.
The Flying Fish in Memphis apparently has the record. They've got something like 400 Big Mouth Billy Basses on the walls of this restaurant.
God.
If you read the TripAdvisor, they have pretty low stars, but everybody comments on the amount of Billy Basses being impressive. So just wanted to throw
fish
that in
tastes
there.
like plastic, though.
Yeah.
There were like spin-offs of Big Mouth Billy Bass, right?
There was a lobster.
I remember the song "Mac the Knife" was with one of them, right?
Yeah, it was the Jaws version, which
Okay.
I had. It was a shark.
Yeah.
Because the first line of Mac the Knife is, "Oh, the shark has," and it flips out and it would sing. It would be Bruce from Jaws. Yeah.
God.
There was a whole mess of like unlicensed bootlegs.
Oh, they had like a lobster. They had one that was just bones. You know, there was quite a few of them.
What are those the Bones ones saying?
Bad to the bone, actually.
Oh, yeah,
it is
bad to the bone,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. By the way, this last little detail is hilarious. An arrest affidavit does not indicate whether cops confiscated the Big Mouth Billy Bass as evidence. As seen below, the Big Mouth Billy Bass performs excerpts from the song "Don't Worry, Be Happy" and "Take Me to the River."
Yeah,
So,
that was the song that I
Yeah.
was trying to remember.
so this is it took a hard left, but Zippergate. Bill Clinton was acquitted by the Senate on February 12th, 1999.
Was that Zippergate? Because I remember explicitly the first Zippergate was Bob Packwood, who was a senator from Oregon, who had to resign because he had a penchant for walking around women that were staffers with his fly down and drawing attention to the fact
Maybe
that
he's
he
just
was
forgetful.
No, I mean it was like one of those things where he was like,
Oh darn! Not again.
oh yeah, just like putting little talismans to.
I thought it was a little cold in here.
Yeah.
Boy, my dick sure is small right now.
But yeah, I don't know, because that was the original Zippergate, because that was like a big because he had to resign, and I think because of that, it threw off the balance in the Senate. It threw it into flux.
God.
So the fact that this guy harassed women by leaving his fly down had incredible implications on the ability for the United States to pass legislation.
Oh, good.
It does sound like nowadays.
Yeah, it really does.
But I think that might have been 1996.
Oh, okay. Well, that was before that. I just saw, because I remember it being referred to mainly by John Boy and Billy as Zippergate. Listen to morning radio DJs. But yeah, that was February 12th of that year. The impeachment went pretty much all through January. He was impeached by the House, and
What
then
a
it went
waste
over.
of tax money.
My
that
God,
was.
yeah. But he was impeached by the House and then acquitted by the Senate. So he got impeached, but nothing happened. So get used to that again. Hey.
I have to admit, I kind of doubt it.
John Boy and Billy got that show was a trip. I was listening to a lot of John Boy and Billy on the way to school in 1990.
So
Jackie got breast implants.
that was just what I woke up. My dad listened to John Boy and Billy on the radio every fucking morning, and so most mornings of my childhood, my because my parents' room was next to mine, my just like fade in waking up memory was just hearing like, it's time for the John Boy and Billy Playhouse.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo! And just like
It's the
bells
John Boy and Billy
whistles.
Big Show.
The Big Show, that's right.
Yeah. And I remember distinctly Lipless. And I remember Robert D. Rayford complaining about stuff as an 170-year-old man.
He was really the
I'm a curmudgeon. I'm going to complain about things.
So later that month, February 23rd, 1999, let me go back to music for a second. Just listen to all these records that came out just on this one day. Eminem, the Slim Shady LP, TLC's Fan Mail, The Roots, Things Fall Apart, and Lit, A Place in the Sun. So all of those dropped just on one day.
Fuck Lit.
Of all those records, that is the one that I bought and listened to over and over.
Oh my God!
And
My own worst enemy. God.
No,
there's
that's what that was.
Yeah, there's a story about the bassist from Lit leading to a massive police brutality and death of a homeless man in.
Jesus.
Well, so here's the story. The bassist for Lit you remember the Kelly Thomas thing where there was a homeless man in Orange County who was like outside.
Did Lit do that?
No, so there was a guy who was a homeless guy who had schizophrenia that was beaten to death by the cops. It was on video, and the cops were acquitted, which was insane.
Yeah, of course.
The reason why the cops came was that the bassist from Lit, who owned a nightclub where Kelly Thomas was outside of, made up a story that Kelly Thomas was breaking windows and damaging cars.
Oh God.
Yeah, he made up this story so we can get him out of. And the guy has never been like put to trial for filing a fake police report and leading to this sort of situation. So hey, Lit, eat shit.
Wow.
All right.
If he could get another chance, he'd put it in a Ziploc bag.
Oh.
And keep it in my pocket.
God, that song.
Keep it in my pocket.
Oh God, they were so bad. I have an idea for a band. How about let's get Sugar Ray but make it suck more, and then put him in tiki clothes. That's what Lit is.
What did Sugar Ray do that year?
1459 came out that year. That was
every morning there's a halo hanging from the corner of my girlfriend's foot.
Which only ever made it to number.
You guys know the damn words. It took me years to figure out what the fuck he was saying.
Yeah. Well, the best part is DJ Homicide going, "Shut the door, baby. Don't say a word. She always rights the wrong." Yeah.
That
for me. Yep.
That made it to what, like number 6 on TRL?
No, it only made it to like number 10. I remember it was always having it out with Pretty Fly for a White Guy for a while there.
God, that piece of garbage. Oh man.
Piece of garbage. These are the good songs from that year.
Oh Jesus Christ.
But we referenced it a minute ago, and I just wanted to say March 2nd, 1999, Believe by Cher.
I need time to move on. I need love to feel strong.
That is the birth of the public consciousness of auto-tuning,
Right.
anyway. Or like auto-tuning like as an instrument.
As an instrument, exactly, because all
It's been used before.
it's been used constantly by all those boy bands.
Like dance and stuff.
Yeah,
too.
well, it started off as like it was like the vocoder, and people realized but then you could like kind of turn the vocoder down all the way and actually adjust people's pitch. All the pop music used it, but they had it done down in a way to where it essentially just enhanced the sound and made sure everybody was singing directly on key. Cher was the first person to crank that shit up and actually make it that sort of
like that T-Pain kind of warbly.
Sounds like you're singing underwater.
Yeah.
But the song, by the way, it reached number 1 on the Billboard top 100, and it made making Cher the oldest female artist at the age of 52 to perform this feat. Cher also set the record for the longest hit-making career span with 33 years between the release of her first and last Hot 100 single. So 1965 was Got You Babe, and then Believe was 99.
And this was 10 years, I think, since the one she did on that aircraft carrier.
Yeah. If I could turn back time.
But this time there was no like spandex and duct
fishnet.
tape.
Yeah. What day was that?
That Cher came out. It was March. Let's see.
It was in March,
It's
right?
March. Yeah, March
Okay.
3rd.
Yeah, so in between, I'm looking at the cheat sheet. April 20th, Columbine High School happened.
Oh no, that's right.
Yeah.
Hitler's birthday.
Yeah, April
420.
April 20th, 1999, which that was like that changed the tenor.
Yeah, talk about setting the damn stage for where the fuck we're at right now.
Yeah.
Starting trends.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Jesus.
But if you ever want to listen to it in depth, last podcast on the left has a fantastic 2-parter on the Columbine,
their Columbine
High School.
episodes.
Yeah, it's great. The things that I do remember distinctively about it was threefold. One, there was basically, if you were goth in any sort of way, you had a target on your back.
Yeah,
we didn't have those in our high school, like goths, because I went to a Catholic school. But
no one's depressed in Catholicism.
I wasn't from
the priests and stuff. All
kind of goth.
Yeah, I guess.
But I wasn't from the goth part of Florida. That's more of a West Coast Florida thing.
They were gothic in their dress.
There was the level of attention towards Rammstein and Marilyn Manson and all that stuff was comedic, where it was just like, here's this, let's blame the video game Doom,
Yeah.
It ruined Marilyn Manson's career.
And then the third thing was on the thing that Columbine overshadowed was on, for us wrestling fans, this would be good, April 20th, 1999, Rick Rude died that day.
Oh, no shit.
Ravishing Rick Rude died the day Columbine happened.
Oh my god.
I did not realize that.
Wow.
And he was making a comeback for wrestling, and he had a heart attack.
Oh man.
In terms of Marilyn Manson, I feel like he was big for a while after that, and he had some songs that got quite a bit of radio play.
He had the
and
dope
stuff.
show. But before that, he had this whole. He was like I'm trying to think of what to put, like the Alice Cooper of that.
Yeah, it was very much an Alice Cooper.
Parents were afraid of him, and he had those songs like Lunchbox and all that shit.
Yeah,
and then after that, he moved away from that and became like, I'm going to become this sort of David Bowie burlesque thing, and all the teenagers were like, "Yeah, okay, we don't relate to this shit."
Well, the thing I will say for Marilyn Manson is that this was maybe the first time, because they kind of erroneously blamed this on him, or indirectly at least. It was the first time that he was ever appearing on television, speaking seriously as himself as an artist.
Brian Warner.
And goddamn, if the guy isn't one of the most well-spoken musicians you've ever heard.
Well, they needed some sort of scapegoat because it was something that was so shocking to America and the rest of the world at the time that they needed an explanation of why, and I seemed like an easy person to blame for it. And I'm not surprised at something like that, but I'm surprised at the extent that they went to really persecute me over it. That event is not singular, and things like that have been happening for years and years and years, and it's pitiful when it becomes a ratings game almost about how many people are watching when you die to see what type of a hero or what type of a martyr or villain you become. How many magazine covers you get on when you kill somebody. The two byproducts of that whole tragedy were violence and entertainment and gun control. And how perfect that was the two things that we were going to talk about with the upcoming election. And also then we forgot about Monica Lewinsky, and we forgot about the president was shooting bombs overseas. Nobody said, well, maybe the president had an influence on this violent behavior. No, because that's not the way the media wants to take it and spin and turn it into fear, because then you're watching television, you're watching the news, you're being pumped full of fear. There's floods, there's AIDS, there's murder. Cut to commercial, buy the Acura, buy the Colgate. If you have bad breath, they're not going to talk to you. If you got pimples, the girl's not going to fuck you. And it's just it's a campaign of fear and consumption. And that's what I think that it's all based on, is the whole idea that keep everyone afraid and they'll consume. Mm-hmm. And that's really as simple as it can be boiled down to.
Right.
He was a smart guy because he was the smart kid in school on the Wonder Years. You remember that one from the 90s?
Oh, yeah, that rumor. Yeah, of course.
I mean, anybody that would have the ingenuity to know if you got your bottom ribs removed and would have that.
Do you know that was the old recycled rumor?
For Prince.
For Prince, in the 80s. Remember Marilyn Manson took out his ribs
I
so
remember
that he could suck himself off? They said that about Prince in the 80s.
Yeah.
I wrote a sketch that I never produced that Adam had God take his rib out to make Eve so that he could suck his own dick.
And then there would have been no fallen man.
It's like, hey, come eat off this tree. No, I'm busy.
Come on, where? I'm in a different kind of food.
Oh, fuck.
Pat Riley, After Dark. An adult album.
So one thing we got to talk about, May of 99, Ricky Martin. I have a very specific memory of this summer. My mom went to Europe, and my dad and I drove her to the airport. We dropped her off. La Vida Loca was playing in the car. We went to the Bass Pro Shop, hung out there for about 30 to 45 minutes, came back outside, turned the car back on, La Vida Loca was on again. That is how much that shit was playing.
It was everywhere. I remember hearing La Vida Loca. I think I was in the bathroom at like a KOA near Fredericksburg or something.
All of that is so on brand.
It launched that whole Latin pop craze.
Yeah, we had Mark Anthony,
Jennifer Lopez,
Enrique Iglesias. You could also say Christina Aguilera. She would fit into that.
Yeah. Tom Server, New Jersey.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of her music, it's not. I wouldn't call it Latin pop, though.
No, definitely not. Not in terms of the sound. And she did.
Christina Aguilera's a bit of a chameleon,
right?
Yeah.
Well, and she's done like every style.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
But at the time, it was all like pretty much like pretty like straightforward, just like suggestive pop music.
Yeah, well, that was sort of her move, I think,
Yeah.
out of that,
Yeah.
like, Britney Spears clone, like,
Yeah.
thing. It was like, oh, I'm a little Latin guy, so watch this.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I think the first thing she did to separate herself was do like Genie in a Bottle and Dirty, like significantly,
yeah,
like
yeah,
make
yeah,
herself
yeah.
like I'm like the more overtly sexual.
Oh my
version.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
That music video was
Dirty.
Formative.
blew my mind when I was a teen. I remember watching it, and I was just like that scene in Scanners when the guy's head explodes.
Oh yeah, that's one of
I
those
was
videos. The
just
first time you
like-
see it, it was like, "Am I allowed to
Watch
We
this?
can watch this."
Yeah, I was just like, yo, and she's hanging out with Redman. She rules. She's awesome. Why isn't she at my high school, man?
Well, then there's also Mambo number 5.
He's Latin?
Well, he's not. He's German, but
So then why is that in the Latin
Because
explosion?
it has that sort of
The Latin vibe? It sounded like the background music to a fucking Heckle and Jekyll cartoon.
well, it had that Louis Prima sort of like
it's a-
pastiche to
Isn't he
it.
Italian?
so no, it's a remix. Mambo number 5 is a remix of a Perez Prado song from the 40s called Mambo number 5.
That's why it sounded
Yeah.
that old.
Yeah, that's why it's like that old school sound. But,
But
yeah.
this guy didn't use all the names, the original song.
No, the old name, there was
Lou
literally.
Bega was the genius of adding a little bit of
Yeah,
Jessica.
the original
Yeah.
the original song, the only lyric in it was the trumpet.
Yeah. Oh my God. We got on it one time. We were when I was in Boy Scouts that year, 1999. I remember we were on a canoe trip. We were going down the Tallapoosa River, and we'd stop at these beaches and set up tents and stuff like that. And at night, after everybody was supposed to be in bed, all you could hear echoing down the fucking Tallapoosa River Valley was just a bunch of 12-year-olds going, "I want to hear the trumpet," and it was the funniest shit because somebody would yell it, and then everybody would laugh.
Mambo number 5.
And it would fucking die down, and then like 20 minutes later, would somebody go, "The trumpet," and we'd all start laughing again.
My friend Chris, his dream wedding is to have it on a boat and then have Lou Bega perform at the reception, which would probably cost like $10,000.
I bet it'd be a reasonable rate.
Yeah.
It would be affordable these days.
And because my friend Chris knows Mambo number 5, but he knows all the other Lou Bega songs, like the ice cream song and stuff.
Or the one that sounds just like it but has different lyrics.
Yeah.
All the things that you can do.
Lou Bega was truly the 20th century Pitbull.
I mean, shit. Yeah, you're kind. I mean, yeah.
He was money smart. Like you said, Rivers. He toured constantly during the 10 minutes that he was big, and he never released the fucking thing as a single.
Yeah. And and he would do short concerts too.
Well, how many songs did the guy have?
That's the thing. He would do like Mama number 5, the other 2 songs, then he'd do Mama number 5 again, and then he would go to another town before the night was over and do another show.
Oh my
People got
God.
mad at the 20-minute show. They just paid money for it.
Yeah. You get the fuck out of town.
This is just like when Dat Fan won season 1 of Last Comic Standing, and he had like 10 minutes of material, and he couldn't tour.
Mambo number 5.
they added the Latin Grammys after this year.
That was a thing. I remembered that.
I was like,
Yeah.
God damn, that was cool.
Yeah.
But and then it kind of petered out. I mean, they obviously still have the Latin Grammys, but just as a cultural like phenomenon, that original pop of Latin pop music was never equaled. I don't think.
Ricky overplayed his hand with "Shake Your Bon Bon," and everybody was like, "Let's take a step back." But after that, the Backstreet Boys came out.
Yes. This is like we're talking about like the height of the music industry was this year. And
Same week, Ricky Martin's Ricky Martin and Backstreet Boys Millennium came out.
Yeah. Well, no, they're 1 week apart.
Oh, 1 week apart.
Yeah.
Was this the one that broke the Backstreet Boys?
No, so the Backstreet Boys were they had their first record, which came out, I believe, in 1996.
They kind of started that boy band crap.
They brought it back from New Kids. Yeah,
but they got eclipsed by like the NSYNC.
The next year they got eclipsed. They got eclipsed by NSYNC.
Backstreet Boys that started that.
Yeah, so Backstreet Boys owned 1999. That's the thing, I think, because NSYNC was around and NSYNC was definitely a known entity. But I mean, I remember this specifically was like 99 could not go anywhere without talking about the Backstreet Boys. And then 1 year later, like it wasn't even 1 year later. It was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, No Strings Attached by NSYNC broke the record for 1 week sales in January of 2000.
Well, to me, it looked like, there was this thing, the Backstreet Boys, and and this caught on with girls. It became real popular.
Yes.
So to me, it looked like the big labels wanted to get in on it.
Yeah,
So they had
yeah.
like this manufactured thing with their plucked like actor Disney Channel stars.
Yeah.
Right.
And to me, I was just like, this is the phoniest fucking music.
I remember distinctively in high school, and this sums up the Backstreet Boys sort of craze amongst the teenage boy dynamic. I remember one kid had a JanSport backpack, and in whiteout he wrote "BSB sucks." Yeah! And then a little further up on the backpack was "The Big Show."
Fuck yes.
He wrote "The Big Show," which in 1999. The Big Show's theme music came out.
Well, it's a big show.
Which might have been the best song
That's
of the
the
year.
funniest song of the year,
Well,
for
it's
sure.
a big bad show tonight, y'all.
As much as I love Bum Bum Song, Big Show's theme is in fact funnier than the Bum Bum Song. But yeah, so Millennium by the Backstreet Boys. Ricky Martin, May 11th, 1999. May 18th, 1999, 7 fucking days later, Millennium by the Backstreet Boys drops. In the United States, it holds the record for the most shipments in 1 year with 11 million albums sold in 1999.
It sold 2 million the first week,
It's gone on to sell 30 million copies worldwide. Backstreet Boys smashed the old first week sales record held by Garth Brooks, and his sales record was 1.08 million. Millennium sold 1.13 million the first week, and the album holds at number 1 first week sales record of the 90s.
Was that the one with
I Want It That Way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That became a Burger King commercial, and it sounded like it was always supposed to be a Burger King commercial.
Yeah, that song was everywhere.
So I want to talk about that song because this ties in directly to what I was talking about earlier with "Hit Me Baby One More Time." The Swedes, the damn Swedes. "I Want It That Way" was written by Andreas Carlson and Max Martin, while Martin and Christian Luden produced the track. The mid-tempo ballad finds the guys gushing expressions of romantic affection. The acoustic guitar arpeggio riff, which forms the song's intro and reiterates through the verses, was written at the very end of the recording session and was, according to Carlson, inspired by "Nothing Else Matters" by Metallica.
Makes sense, yeah.
So you can hear that a little bit. The video that came out, if you guys remember it, the theme of the video, airports.
Yeah. Airplane hangars.
It's them just walking around airports, tarmacs, airplane hangars, and it isn't until the very, very end of the video where it's kind of like the Beatlemania scene where the Beatles are getting on the plane and there's a million like kids screaming
Teeny
in the
boppers,
airport.
yeah.
But for the first like 4.5 minutes of the song, or however long it is, it's just them making faces in parts of the airport.
Did the Swedes have anything to do with the music video though?
No.
I was walking through the airport and I was listening to Music for Airports by Brian Eno, Ambient One. And I realized that album does not sum up a current idea of being in an airport.
But no, the reason I bring it up, okay, so the song doesn't make sense. Everybody knows this song. Everybody's heard it a million times. And because you've heard it a million times, you think it makes sense. The lyrics are, "You are my fire, my one desire. Believe when I say, I want it that way."
What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything. And the reason it doesn't mean anything is because this is this guy's second language.
Yeah.
And he just wrote it out to basically sound good in English.
This does not surprise me one bit because I shit you not, I was a grown up when this shit hit. So this shit to me all sounded like it was written by somebody who barely speaks English.
It's exactly what it
Britney
is.
Spears was the same thing. "Do Me Baby One More Time." What is this shit?
Well, "Do Me Baby One More Time" makes sense. "Hit Me"
whatever
is...
she
Yeah.
I was like, the cover of that Britney Spears record, I think, sold more copies of it than the fucking music did.
Oh, yeah, I bet. So the Finnish version that you hear was the first version that the Backstreet Boys turned into their record label. And they're like, here it is, it's done. And the record label said, this doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Yeah.
This song is gibberish, and do it again. So they got American songwriters to sit down and kind of rejigger the words, and they recorded it again.
Are you about to play
I'm
us
about
that
to play
recording?
the alternative version of it, which is called "No Goodbyes." And so this was the alternative version that they made to make sense. And the thing is, it does make sense, but this version kind of sucks. So yeah, this is "No Goodbyes." This is the fixed version.
There's the airport noise.
Yeah.
deeply, so deeply. You're my first thought every day, and I want it that way. My life.
My life is for you, and I adore you. I love you more every day, and I want it that way. Like, they fixed the actual lyrics so they make sense in English.
Yeah.
Songs don't really have to make sense, though. They're
Exactly.
about feel
Yeah.
more than
Yeah. Well, and then there's
Paul
even
McCartney is the master of the song that it sounds like it's
Which
about
backstory-
something.
what
Most Berry Moon Delight. That song
Which
kicks ass.
Backstreet Boy are you? I'm leaning towards the 40-year-old guy, Kevin Richardson.
So first of all,
I'm the one that looks like David Schwimmer that might be your substitute teacher.
so here's a
Is
weird.
that the band with Joey Fatone?
no, that's NSYNC.
That's NSYNC. And by the way, you know what I found out? Joey Fatone has a food truck in LA called Fat One because he appreciates a good joke.
And his name is Fat One.
Exactly. Yeah. His name's Fat One.
And he was getting
And he
quite
was the fat
rotund.
one.
He had,
Yeah.
These bands, they're almost like a ringer thing where they have one or two young guys for the girls, and the rest of the band were a bunch of old dudes. Look like they work in a garage or a Valvoline.
Here's a weird connection. I wanted to I'll shout out my buddy Charlie up there listening in Chicago. Charlie's cousin is the old guy from.
Oh, really?
His cousin is Kevin Richardson.
Hell yeah, dude.
His other cousin is Miles Miller, who's the drummer for Sturgill Simpson. So
Wow.
my buddy Charlie
A
has
musical
two
family.
weird musical connections.
Weren't
But
these guys from Indiana or something?
well, I think they kind of poached these people from all over and brought them together in Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
Lou Pearlman's
Lou Pearlman, the evil impresario of all boy bands,
Yeah.
which maybe
Was Disney involved in this in any way?
yes, they were absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah.
They all were.
Yeah, the Disney was involved in the creation of all of these bands, but
And you go deeper down the rabbit hole, you'll find out that
Yeah.
I never realized this until right now, but the name Backstreet Boys sounds like a parody of New Kids on the Block.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You're right.
Yeah.
And,
It's like, well, that worked once. Let's do
Yeah.
it again.
and actually, this was the era. 1999 was when a lot of the New Kids on the Block came back, like
Yeah,
Jordan Knight, Little Joey. All of them became
Yep.
popular again and would manifest on.
And Donnie was in The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
but he wasn't singing.
Was
in
he
the
in
Sixth Sense.
South there that year? Remember that movie?
Yeah,
You know what his character's name is in that movie?
What is that?
Big Balls.
big balls, and I believe Vanilla Ice is in Salty too. Actually, makes
my
an
God.
appearance, which I believe it was hard.
Is he in the movie or is he working at Rondo's Sub?
I wonder, did Hard to Swallow come out in 1999?
Possibly.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, that's May 18th, 1999. The Backstreet Boys released Millennium. 24 hours later, Star Wars: The Phantom Menace is released.
Oh shit!
The next fucking day.
All right, that's the thing I remember.
The
from that
two
year.
biggest things that happened that goddamn year: Millennium by the Backstreet
And
Boys,
Jar Jar
and Jar Jar
Binks.
Binks. 24 hours later.
Or shall we say that was supposed to be the biggest thing that happened that year. And it wasn't. Again,
money-wise.
kind of setting the stage for today again. This was the first time people went to a Star Wars movie
and
they were like, what are we watching?
What the fuck is this? Yeah.
But this one, I'll say this before. There's a lot. I know we don't talk about on this show because Pat. I'll give Pat credit. Pat does not watch Star Wars, and when you think about the Phantom Menace,
Me and Freddie Mercury, man.
yeah, exactly. And y'all were right. But I had to say this, right? I don't think more people were more disappointed by one movie.
I know.
Than this Phantom Menace thing. It was
Yeah.
like an entire world went into that theater. They saw fucking a long time ago in the galaxy.
Tax negotiations.
And they pump their fist, and then
Yeah.
that tax negotiation shit scrolls together. They're like, what? And then they start watching the movie, like, oh, we must move quickly.
By the way-
communications down now.
That guy, I looked him up, the guy who played Newt Gunray. He's actually Indian.
Newt Gunray?
Yeah, there's a guy
He just
wanna
does
know.
the most
You don't wanna
Japanese
know.
voice.
I can do it really quickly. There's a character, he's an alien, and he has the most awful Charlie Chan Asian accent.
Oh, yeah.
And he's
Have you
evil.
ever encountered a Jedi before?
Right, yeah. And I was like looking him up, I was like, maybe if he's actually Japanese or like something. I was looking for anything to make this better. It's like, no, he's just like an American guy with like Indian heritage.
Oh, my God.
That was a problem with that movie. In the original Star Wars, everybody talked American English or British English.
Yeah.
Except the characters talked funny languages, right?
Yeah.
In that movie, he decided, let's give all the characters wacky accents.
Right,
So you
right.
get like, Me said no like. And, Nubian, we got lots of that.
I remember they
That
promoted.
was a good Watto.
Oh, I know.
All right, which episode is this?
This is episode 1. Yeah.
1999 or whatever?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
199
Yeah,
episodes?
199.
Yeah, and I never have done my Watto until now. I'm still surprised.
They promoted the hell out of that because I remember I was a big Mountain Dew drinker, and they would put
hell yeah, the cans.
No, and they put it on the cans and on the bottles, and I would remember looking at it and these characters on it. The only exposure to Star Wars I had was like some like Chewbacca tribute video that they had on the MTV Movie Awards and like Muppet Babies. And I remember looking at it and seeing like Jar Jar Binks on there, and I'm just like, what the hell is this?
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I was, or Queen Amidala. I'm like, what is this?
Pat, Pat, I'm a big time old Star Wars fan, all right?
Yeah.
I remember going into the Kmart and like a Kmart in Richmond across from the Shoney's or something because I wanted to look at the action figures to see what the movie was going to be.
I do that
like.
now for the new ones that come out.
I see Jar Jar Binks. I see Watto. I see C-3PO when he's like, you can see all his innards, and I'm like, what the fuck? Every character in this movie is so goddamn ugly. Jar Jar Binks was the ugliest character probably in the history of the damn movie. He has eye stalks.
Yeah.
Only slugs and shit have that. That's gross.
Yeah, and the only thing that they was Samuel L. in the first one.
He's in the first 3. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then that's okay.
But he's not.
He didn't help the movies.
He's not
yeah.
being Samuel L. He's being very restrained and like.
But he has a purple.
monk-like.
But he has a purple lightsaber, right?
Yeah, he's got a. But
he didn't use it in that movie.
He didn't use it in that one. But yeah, no, he's very restrained, and I'm like, yo, Sam Jackson is like the best is when he's unhinged and being like,
and angry.
I hope they burn in hell. Like you didn't get
I think
that.
he was kind of a last minute addition of that movie.
Yeah, exactly. So the film saw a breakthrough in computer-generated effects. About 1,950 of the shots in The Phantom Menace have visual effects.
Which is why it looked like a video game.
The only scene in the movie that doesn't have any digital alteration is the scene where they release the toxic gas. That's the only practical effect.
Like the first scene of the movie?
The first scene in the movie is the only practical effect in the entire
So
film.
they use real gas.
Yeah, they just filled it. They just had a fog machine under the door.
Yeah.
The
I mean, as
stupid.
maligned as George Lucas is now, like I want to give him credit, not just for like, oh, he started it and all that kind of stuff, but like he basically also like invented digital editing.
Yeah, shit.
And
yeah.
like Lucasfilm founded Pixar.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
like we wouldn't have like the golden age of television if it wasn't for basically him pressing for digital like editing and filming.
Right. Well, and
because they wouldn't be able to like do half the shit they could do.
Right.
Like,
And well, and the fact
it'd be
that
too expensive. Even stuff like Breaking Bad or something.
Well,
it's like just like this how cinematic TV is now.
Yes.
They could not do that without digital, and it's much of that comes from him.
And it's also kind of the democratization of being able to film like that. I mean, something like, you and I, like when we make like sketches for Hush Money, for instance, we're able to like do all that shit because you can edit quickly and you can do all that stuff digitally. And this was one of the first major release movies because those first 3, regardless of what you think
did y'all
they
have
are,
a budget when you do your videos to have a 20-minute pod race?
No, but but what I'm saying is like real quick. What I was saying is that like those first 3 movies were shot and edited completely in digital, and obviously now they're back and they're like, oh, we're using film now. We're going back the way it was. But to Lucas's credit, that's putting your balls on the line, man. Just being like, man, we're done with film. We're gonna do digital now. So
I realized that TRL was a work because of Star Wars.
oh boy, yeah.
Because they had the video for the theme song,
The Duel of the Fates.
Yeah, and it was like #1. I'm like, there ain't no way teenagers are calling in to the MTV studios and saying, yeah, Backstreet Boys cool, Ricky Martin cool, blah blah, Britney Spears. I don't want to hear none of that. I just want to hear that freaking Star Wars theme by John Williams.
Au contraire.
Yeah, because
I called TRL and requested Duel of the Fates.
So it was your fault.
It was the only time.
Yeah, you were the only one.
Fucking the movie wasn't out yet. Nobody knew what it was. that music video for Duel of the Fates was the only footage they were showing. It was the equivalent of like on YouTube now, you can just watch a trailer for a thing that's coming out over and over and analyze it and like look at every little fucking piece. We didn't have access to any streaming video or nothing. And so I literally called TRL so they would show the video for Duel of the Fates so I could just see like clips. Because if you watch that video even now, it is 1,000 times better than Phantom Menace. It fucking rules.
That's right. This is still back in the time people. I remember when that movie was coming out, like when the trailer first released, there was like huge waves of people that were like buying tickets to go to movies and left right after the trailers.
Anakin Skywalker, meet Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I sense much fear in you. Fear is the path to the dark side.
I mean, I don't have to worry about this because I'm so fucking cool that I'm just above this shit.
You are, Pat. I'm giving you credit.
No, I'm not.
But no, I legit called TRL and requested that video to see the little clips. It was a cool video. We'll pop it up on our Twitter so you guys can see it. If you don't believe me, it's better than Phantom Menace, and it's only 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
Well, it was the soundtrack to the only good scene in the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And they brought it back. Well, this is spoilers. Hit the 15 seconds ahead button if you haven't seen Solo. But they brought it back at the end of Solo. When you see Darth Maul for 2 seconds, you hear a little just in the background.
Oh God!
Darth Maul had gained a bit of weight.
Yeah, he really had.
They are good. They are evil. They are alien. They are wise. And they are available. At Toys R Us, you can find the complete collection from Star Wars Episode 1. It's a selection of epic proportions, and they are waiting. Toys R Us.
May 31st, 1999. And this is the actual title of the program. TRL Blow the Boat. Is what it's called. TRL Blow the Boat. This happened.
It's the Blow the Boat barbecue.
Yeah, the Blow the Boat
That
barbecue.
sounds like a really fun time.
Opening up MTV.
Isle of MTV.
Isle of
in the
MTV
Bahamas.
summer in Bahamas. You just have all this global grind at the beach.
Yeah.
Say what karaoke at the beach. All this stuff at the beach.
Yeah.
And to open it up, we have the Blow the Boat barbecue. And God damn, it was such a letdown.
It was so stupid. So the funniest part of this clip, what we're about to see essentially is Limp Bizkit playing a concert, and there is a boat parked at the end of the harbor, and Fred Durst pushes a plunger.
Yo, we're gonna blow this boat up.
And then the boat explodes.
That's why it's blow the boat.
So okay, wait. Before we start, when you think of a blow the boat barbecue, and you're gonna blow up a boat, MTV Networks, Viacom, big money. We're starting up the summer programming, global grind, all that stuff that's happening on MTV. Everything's gonna be at the beach. How big of a boat can you imagine? How big of an explosion do you imagine?
Oh, we're talking like a Dark Knight Joker rigging up the boats.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
What do you think, Goodnight?
How big of an explosion?
How big of a boat? Or what type of boat?
I'm just thinking a yacht that cruises by while they play their song.
Right.
And then just on a drum beat. Boom.
Yeah.
Or I'm just imagining, or even like in Miami Vice, when the drug boat blows up and it's just like a massive Michael Mann explosion. Like, this is what the expectations were.
Right. And by the way, I want to just, before I actually show the explosion, I just wanted to play a brief clip. This is Carson Daly trying to explain why.
So, dude, you're gonna blow up a boat for us, and basically this is symbolism that we at MTV are here now at the Isle of MTV all summer, and it's very important to us.
Well, I'm blowing up the boats, so we have no way out of here, so we can just kick it here all summer.
That's a damn good thing too.
It is so fucking sad when Fred Durst gets it and your host doesn't know why you're blowing. Like, because there's no narrative reason to blow up the boat for the show.
Yeah.
And Carson Daly goes, well, the symbolism of us being here all week. And then Fred goes, we're blowing it up so we can't leave the islands. And you're like, yeah, because that's why you would do that.
Where are they again?
They're in the Bahamas.
Or you could have said blowing up a boat because it's cool.
Yeah, or just say because it's fucking
I
cool.
thought they were maybe in
Because it
Mexico. And
rules.
it'd be like
and you have a
Cortez.
song called Break Stuff, you know?
Yeah, so I want you guys to see the damn boat, and if you're listening to us, check us out on Twitter. We're at The Goods Pod. We'll throw this clip up because it is so fucking hilarious. This goddamn boat. You can see it in the background there.
Wait a minute.
Did you see it?
It's like a dinghy.
It is the tiniest little boat.
It's a sailboat.
It's a little sailboat.
Yo.
It's like
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
it's really just
so anticlimactic because they're playing Stuck, and they blow up this boat.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know there was such a thing as an unimpressive explosion.
The boat it's still there. It's still floating.
Burning.
Yeah, it's
like there's a dead Viking on it or something.
Yeah. I mean, you could have blown this thing to
It
smithereens.
didn't even sink, and it's just a little dinghy.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's like a sailboat that they got for like $5,000 off some drunk guy at Margaritaville, Nassau. He's like, "Yeah, I'll sell you a boat," and it's like, you know, this.
I'll tell you about, but y'all better not harm it at all. Don't worry, the explosion won't destroy it in any way.
We got to get this back to the boat store so we can return it.
First of all, the idea is that MTV is stuck here. There's like hundreds of people on this island. You could fit maybe 6 people on this boat.
And the boat's still floating.
And the boat's still floating. But really,
Look, it's a symbolic gesture.
But and again, this goes back to like it's the fun of doing research for these types of episodes. So listen to this shit. So that's May 31st, 1999. They're blowing up a boat. It's supposed to be symbolic of MTV's arrival at the fucking island. It's supposed to be emblematic of MTV holding sway over everything.
Sure.
24 hours later, June 1st, 1999, Napster launches.
Oh my god!
How fucking like the 24 hours later, the fucking balloon was popped.
Yeah, the music industry
began to die.
Yeah.
A scant 24 hours after Fred Durst blew up a tiny boat to a cheering crowd that didn't understand what they were a part of.
Maybe that's not an accident. It's like Fred Durst blows up a tiny boat in front of a cheering crowd, doesn't know what cheering
and it's
for.
like the cool.
And then the music industry dies the next day. Who would have thought
like
that?
How fucking crazy is that?
It's supposed to be the coolest thing that's going to launch off the summer of the biggest year in music history.
Yeah.
I'm recording music history, and Fred Durst is going to launch it off, and it's just like, we're high on the hog. This is going to sell so many units. Yo, we're going to blow this boat up. And it's like, and then he blows up this boat with a Wile E. Coyote Acme
a
detonator.
plunger, an actual plunger.
And there's this weak explosion, right? And it's just like the next day. Napster.
Everything. I mean, it took a while for all the air to go out of the fucking balloon, but that was absolutely the beginning of the air
I
going
love
out of
how
the balloon.
symbolic it ended up being, though. If it's like a Viking funeral for the recording
For the
industry,
fucking music industry.
Yeah.
I love. Oh god, I love.
Yo,
it.
we're gonna blow this boat up.
So there's no way that plunger was connected to anything, right? It was like some technician watching, he pressed the plunger.
Yeah, because it takes a while for him to actually.
Like if you were in that boat, you would survive.
You would. So I'm just gonna run this real quickly because it was such a crazy summer of music. But this is just some of the stuff that came out this summer. June 1st, Blink-182's "Enema of the State." June 8th, Smash Mouth's "Astro Lounge" featuring All Star. Also June 8th
From the Mystery Men soundtrack.
From the Mystery Men soundtrack, a big flop of that year. June 8th, also same day, "Californication" by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, that was the one I owned.
Great record.
That was pretty solid, yeah.
Because they had Frusciante back.
Playing the slide guitar on Scar Tissue.
Yeah.
I love that song. I had no idea what he said, though. I thought it said "switch above the sheds."
Yeah. Blood loss in a bathroom stall.
June 15th, "Vertical Horizon," Everything You Want.
Oh god, that song sucks so bad. My god, that was like, if there was any song that epitomized like the 1990s and like radio-oriented rock music, that one. I mean, like all your Semisonics closing times, all your Third Eye Blinds.
I don't know. We got
all those ones. That one right there. It's so banal.
We still got some left on this list.
Everything. Yeah.
The same day, "Supernatural" by Santana. "Smooth" by
but that was a slow burn. That album was a slow ass burn, and then the end of the year, that was the biggest song ever.
Yep.
Ever.
June 22nd, "The Soft Bulletin" by the Flaming Lips. Chemical Brothers, "Surrender," and June 22nd, that same day, Significant Other by Limp Bizkit.
Oh yeah, yeah, because that was supposed to launch off. The blowing it up was just
that was
like,
a promotion for the record.
Oh yeah,
there's even a point where Carson Daly says they got a new record out coming this summer. Significant Other.
Gonna blow up a little boat.
Keep it to this world as a reject.
June 29th, and this again, the only other good thing that came out regarding Phantom Menace, Weird Al's Running with Scissors, featuring The Saga Begins, which was American Pie, but about Star Wars.
That was horrible.
it's better than the movie. Same
You
day.
can actually listen to it. And
I like
the
Weird.
movie.
I like Weird Al. So
I forgot about
Summer Girl.
this year Anakin guy.
I hate
Maybe
that song.
Vader someday later, but for now he's a small fry.
Yeah.
I've never even been a fan of the original, to be honest.
Yeah,
with you.
American Pie sucks.
It goes on too long.
Yeah,
it's too
yeah.
hard to figure out.
Yep. June 29th, same day, LFO, Summer
Oh,
Girls.
that song. Ooh.
With,
Ooh.
yeah.
Yo.
My name is Rich.
I like
you look
girls
like a
who-
girl that wears Abercrombie and Fitch. Yep. And
Yeah,
then,
where he's just like Chinese food makes me sick, and it's just like it's almost like the Swedish guys were like, I need to work on my.
oh my God. Well, dude,
I need to work on my English.
Well, shit. He does have the iconic line of Billy Shakespeare wrote a whole bunch of sonnets.
Yeah. Yo, my name is Rich.
Was this song constructed from a Swedish English phrase book?
It was like a thing
They had
where
the
it's just
magnets
like-
and they threw them at the fridge.
yeah,
with
where
the
they're
words.
just like, let me show you how much I love American culture.
Yep. LFO, by the way, stands for Light, Funky Ones.
And there's actually there's actually a really good late 80s, early 90s British electro group called LFO.
yeah.
Who are amazing. And it's so funny because I can't listen to them because I'm just waiting.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God, they're going to say it. They're going to say the Abercrombie and Fitch thing, and it's going to puka shell necklace looking.
The July 22nd, and this is still
Frat boys look the exact same as Rich from LFO, by the way. They don't change.
Well, Rich doesn't change anything at all
Yeah.
now because he is dead of lymphoma.
Wow. Oh,
yeah,
no.
died in 2010.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still 1999. It's Sigma Nu.
It'll be
so.
Summer Girls Forever for Mr. Rich Cronin. This one came out July 22nd, and this is still right near the top for me of like best summer songs. And Pat, feel free to rip me apart. Can't Stop the Bum Rush by Lynn. Steal My Sunshine.
I know it's up for me. If you steal my sunshine, making sure I'm not in too deep. If you steal my sunshine,
That song fucking owns, man.
Yeah, it has some good samples in it.
Yeah,
you know.
it's great. It still fucking bangs.
It was a brother and sister in it, right?
Yeah, they were Canadian, and none of their music sounds like that.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the one weird pop song they threw together. And
Yeah.
it's fucking great. They're kind of like an art rock band.
Yeah,
almost
they kind
in a
of
lot
are,
ways. But yeah, Puff Daddy Forever came out on August 24th.
Hideous.
Mentioned earlier, Christina Aguilera also August 24th, her first record with Genie in a Bottle.
Was that Puff Daddy album have some song? That wasn't Godzilla, because that was the year before.
That was the year
right?
before. That Puff Daddy record had the song Hate Me Now, which is where him and Nas are both dressed as Jesus and they're dragging crosses across the
I
desert.
guess I missed that one.
Yeah, because
It wasn't in a movie, was
yeah,
it?
because he
No.
was going through his whole thing with the gun case, where he was just like
that was the end of this year. That was December 23rd.
because
of
there was
99.
because some guy threw this is like the best diss, and I'm not a dissing type guy, but I wish I could do this. Some guy at a club threw a whole stack of money in his face. He was just like, and just like just throws a stack of money
Yeah.
in his face, and then he like pulls out a gun. He was on a date with like Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer Lopez, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember distinctly there was a guy I forget who he was. It wasn't Nelson George. He was a hip hop journalist, and it was on the episode, the 1999 Behind the Music,
which I have been unable to find.
And the guy, he has a very thick Jamaican accent.
Yeah,
and he was like, the guy yelled at him, "You ain't no thug. You ain't no G." Which, when I say it, sounds dumb.
Yeah.
But when the journalist was yelling it in his thick Jamaican accent, I remember being like, that is the most awesome thing I've ever heard. I wish I could talk like that.
He must be a well-paid journalist if he can just throw money.
No, it wasn't the guy who's like recounting what had happened,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, the guy just throws a stack of money in his face.
And then there
which
was
is-
the rapper Shine took the fall for P. Diddy's.
Yeah.
And he was in jail and he made a record in jail. That was kind of the beginning of people making records in jail. So Gucci Mane really started.
Charles Manson.
If you think
Charles Manson, everybody.
They did it in the 50s.
Well,
the Prisonaires.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
one of
That's
the things
right.
that gave Elvis the idea.
Bobby Boussalet.
He was an actor, though, wasn't he?
No, he had an album.
Oh shit!
In jail.
The Dixie Chicks "Fly" came out on August 31st.
Sure, yeah.
Great record.
Which song was that again?
Wide open spaces. That's
And then Earl had to die.
Wide Open Spaces was a good song, but Goodbye Earl was that one had a shelf life of about one listen.
The other one I wanted to mention, this ties back into our show, and I didn't know this. The same day as Fly came out, Vitamin C, I mentioned her earlier, came out with her album, and it has the song the Smile, the Put a Smile on Your Face. And then at the end there's
That was a record, not just an M&M's commercial?
Well, no, but then and then there's a voice after she says "Put a smile on your face" with the patois going. That is Lady Saw, talked about in the Celebrity Albums episode. Whoa. She's the one that's going, Mr. Steven Seagal with the punani.
Oh, Jesus.
It's the same person. She's on the Steven Seagal record.
That rules.
So I had no idea.
Right. Put a smile on your face. Do you think it was a rewrite of Sugar Ray's Fly?
It's very similar.
Even with like the hidden reggae thing in the background.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Super Cat.
Wait, I mostly just remember. I don't remember that song. I mostly just remember Vitamin C from the Graduation song.
That was her next record.
Okay.
Yeah, this was her first record, and they were really trying to push her. And so they played that song like all the time on the damn radio.
Oh, dude, we had.
I just wanted to mention this one because it was my birthday, July 14th, 1999. I turned 13 years old, and on that day, the Blair Witch Project premiered.
Wow.
Do you believe the occult may be involved in the disappearance of your son?
I'm so scared.
Speaking about starting trends.
Yeah, goddamn.
Yeah,
How many
found
found footage
Oh my
movies are
God.
there now? Somebody saw this and correctly was like, this is the cheapest thing to make. This
Yeah.
costs nothing. And if marketed correctly, can be unfucking believably huge.
Has anybody ever been huge with it though, other than them?
Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal Activity. They make those movies for what, like $1 million, $2 million dollars, and they every time
Yeah, but
they.
that's $1 million. Wasn't that one made on something like no movie?
The first Paranormal Activity, I think, had the highest profit margin in Hollywood history.
Really?
Blair Witch was number 2 and was number 1 previously.
Also, it had the benefit of the chatter at the time of like, oh, but it's real though. It's like real tapes that they found, you know.
Well, the first
and then
one
it got
that does
established
that
as a
can-
genre.
can get away with that.
Yeah. Yeah, but then it's established as a genre, and then every found footage movie after that has to spend 20 minutes saying, "Why are you recording me? I'm just recording it for posterity." And they do
I
that
just
for
think
fucking 20 minutes
I just
before the
think you're
movie
cute.
starts. Yeah,
Oh, was that a ghost? Oh, ghost!
Yeah.
The Blair Witch Project was made for $60,000.
Yeah, and
Wow.
Paranormal was half that, I remember.
Yeah, but I mean, fuck me running. That is such a crazy amount of money to be made. But I remember, the marketing on that was genius. I didn't know why I wanted to see it. I just knew that every kid at my school leading up to the actual release date, people were talking about it because it was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Because we all had the internet at school mostly, and people would just be on like BlairWitchProject.com and reading the files. And I remember the website was set up so it looked like a police report that there were missing kids in the woods, and I was just like, this is the coolest. And they had this bullshit backstory with like wood engravings of like people driving the Blair Witch out of Burkittsville or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they marketed that shit in a way that was genius. Yeah.
I mean, thank God it's basically dead as a genre now. I mean, they once in a while, one or two will trickle out. But like,
Right. One will pop up. That's fun. But boy, again, just talking about all the things contained in this year, launching our modern pop culture landscape.
Oh God, yeah.
They're gonna, even though that genre might be dead and they only pop off every once in a while, they're gonna keep making those fucking things because it's pretty low risk gambling at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was July 14th. 2 days later, JFK Jr.'s plane goes down off of Martha's Vineyard.
We're running out of light, he said.
as searchers are sweeping the waters and the beaches off Martha's Vineyard, pressing what has now become a desperate search for John F. Kennedy, his wife, and her sister.
Yeah, I remember that being like every channel. It was one of those things where people were just like, you'd see the wind taken out of the sails of an entire generation when that happened, because everybody, despite the fact they didn't really show an interest.
Yeah,
and
was not a politician at all.
Yeah, and he was just publishing George magazine. Like,
Yeah.
people were just had that hope in their mind, like, he's gonna be the one, man. You know, he's gonna become a politician. John is gonna become president of the United States and take us to a new era. Like, he was going to be the president of the future, you know?
Right,
And,
right.
Yeah. And when that happened, it was like one of those things where I remember like my mom crying.
Yeah.
And they
yeah.
would always replay that clip of him saluting his dad's, like, the Cadillac with his dad's, or
Casket.
the hearse. Yeah. And it was like one of those things. It was like for a generation, I can think of like baby boomers and stuff like that. It was just like the end.
It was just assumed he would be the president.
It was assumed to be the president. If you're going to write a story about, okay, who's going to be the president in 2012,
the incredibly sexy son of John F.
it would
Kennedy.
be JFK Jr.
Yeah.
You know?
How old was he? He was young, right?
38.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So presidential.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
ready to go. Give it 10 years of being in the Senate or something. And
Yeah.
If that, 4 years of being in the Senate and he could do it. But
I mean, it could have been like either like you could have had 2008 be like, instead of it being Biden, being John F. Kennedy Jr., or the flip side, or being John
or
F. Kennedy Jr. and Barack Obama.
Obama vice president or something. I don't even think it would have taken that long, honestly. I think he would have been the guy to go up against Bush even.
Yeah, that's, well, I don't know if that'd be 2004. That's not too, that's
Think
a
about how
little
quick
bit of time.
Obama came up, though.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a name, you know what I
That's
mean?
true, that's
he didn't
true.
have like the aspirations of a whole country like attached to him from birth. For
Yeah,
fuck's
that is
sake.
true. That is true.
Yeah, he kind of just came out of nowhere, but they were both, equally young and
Was
sexy.
this guy ever seriously going to run for president?
No.
Well, no, but probably not. But it was just assumed that like that was always.
it was
but
like-
did he ever hint at it?
I don't think so.
No, it was just like Pete Rose Jr. or Ted Williams Jr. They're like, oh, you're going to be a big baseball star. And they're just like, I just want to race hot rods or something.
Fly planes in ill-advised weather situations.
Sort of the Kylo Ren of America.
Sorry,
Pete
Pat.
Rose's son never killed him.
Yeah, he puts a baseball bat through his chest.
How shitty a dad? I'll just say this quick, but how shitty a dad is Harrison Ford? All right, because he's had 2 kids. One of them killed him, and the other one ended up being Shia LaBeouf. He is a real shitty cinematic dad.
But a few days later, Power
boy.
Man 5000.
Yeah, I've been biding my time, baby.
Yeah. So,
Speaking of the peak of recording of the recording industry,
July 20th, 1999.
that
Tonight,
is the day it
the
happened.
Stars Revolt.
Yep.
Now this is what it's like when worlds collide. You ready to go? Got some ready to go. What you gonna do, baby?
The voice of a generation, truly.
Spider One, baby.
Yes, Spider One. More than just Rob Zombie's little brother.
What was his name? Like Todd Zombie or something?
Michael Cummings.
Michael Cummings.
Michael Cummings.
Yep.
Zombie.
Yeah, Michael Cummings zombie.
So Luke used to live right next door to Disgraceland Studios. We would hang out, chat, talk about music and stuff like that. And I don't mean to disrespect the band or anything like that. And I know they have other fans. You're literally the only person on the planet Earth I've ever talked to who's like, this is my favorite band. And I respect the shit out of that. As a guy who likes as a guy who likes weird fucking music,
Yep.
they're not my favorite, but just, to talk to you and you have such passion about this band.
See, this is like Power Man 5000 is part of what I mean of like in 1999 people like loved the future and they were like, oh, the future's about to happen. Well, like even like everything we've been talking about, like computer animation is part of that.
Right.
The Matrix, which we haven't talked about yet, is totally into that like zeitgeist thing.
Yeah.
This album is like sci-fi metal, which isn't a genre.
Well, their name was 2000, which was
5,000.
5,000.
But 2000.
Even further in the
Yeah,
future.
they're 3,000 years ahead of their time. Whenever the sentient lizards or whatever that rule the earth
after
in
the
year
millennium,
5000.
Apes.
But yeah, that's another thing of like people like leaning into the futures. Millennium by the Backstreet Boys, Dracula 2000.
That's right.
Blues Boys 2000 or Blues Brothers 2000.
Everything was nicknamed 2000. I remember this.
2000 flushes. Come on, guys.
I remember going to, you remember Jay Geary?
Cha-cha-cha.
Jay Geary, he was on that show once.
Yes.
We went into a convenience store looking for snacks in the middle of the night. There was a thing called Popcorn 2000. And Jay just says, Popcorn 2000? You can't sell popcorn in the future.
Guys, there is currently still a furniture store on Fairfax called Italy 2000.
You're right.
Italy 2000.
It's next to Pink's Hot Dogs.
Yeah. Or is it that Fairfax or is that
Brea?
La Brea?
It's on La Brea.
It's on La
I
Brea.
wonder if you go in there if it's like a snapshot of Italy in that. It's all people just doing no Y2K preference.
I want to wear like just like garish looking like silk print shirts. You know those ones that are fake Hermes sort of like print, like that Versace shit with white pants, and have people refer to me as Italy 2000. It's like, no, my name is Italy 2000.
Dracula 2000 was one of the soundtracks that Power Man 5000 was on, though.
Oh, is that right?
How was the movie?
I don't think I ever saw it.
All right.
That's my extent of my knowledge of the movie is that Power Man 5000 was on the soundtrack.
All right. My extent of the knowledge of the movie, I was going to shout him out. My man Jay Morris, I don't know where the hell he is, but if you ever hear him, get in touch with me, Jay. He's talking about that movie. So good night. You want to see Dracula 2000? And I said, Dracula 2000, what's that? And he goes, can you imagine what Dracula could do? In the year 2000, he'd have the internet. So Dracula's going to check his email or something?
That's like, oh my God. I love any sort of like promotional based annoying question like that is so goddamn funny to me.
It was true. He almost sold me on the fucking movie. Yeah. And I was like, Jay, you realize this thing is not going to be as cool as Blackula, right?
Oh, Blackula 2000 would be awesome.
That's what I was hoping we'd get.
But like Dracula 2000, he's just like stalking people on AIM. Just like his screen name is Dracula 2000, and it's just
I really like Mumble number 5.
ASB, age, sex, blood type.
So besides When Worlds Collide, just give us like a 3-song primer for people maybe who haven't ever listened to Power Man. Like what should we hear?
Well, I think maybe the second most listened to song would be Bombshell.
Okay.
Off of their follow-up album Anyone for Doomsday.
Fuck yes.
Which
was that song about Nancy Grace?
I can't
Bombshell
imagine.
tonight.
Bombshell tonight.
Bombshell tonight. Nancy Grace would sing.
They recorded that album as a follow-up and then buried the album and didn't release it like 2 weeks before it was about to come out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because they thought it was too similar to Tonight the Stars Revolt. Because they had like pretty significantly changed their style between every album, and then those two back to back were similar, and then they buried that.
They made a bomb, and this bomb's too dangerous. They had to bury the bomb.
Right, so they didn't release the album, and I remember it was like very frustrating for me because it was like impossible to find, and like you had to like they only sold like you could only find it on eBay for like $60 or something.
Oh shit.
And then
they only had like the Japanese version.
Right.
Like you had to get it shipped
The
from
special
fucking Tokyo.
Columbia House members version.
Yeah, a couple of years later, I ended up getting it because they released a limited run version of it on their website, like just for people who were like members of their forum, which I was. The Power Man, yeah. So I ended up getting it, but it had an alternate like cover art. It didn't have the original cover art.
Yeah, okay.
5,000. How many fans they have in the world?
Hey, they play like every other month at the Whiskey.
Yeah, they were on the Zoolander soundtrack. They did Relax on that.
Oh yeah,
that's probably what people would remember them from as well.
Oh damn, that was them.
Wow, they hung
Was that
around
1999?
No, that would have been like 2001.
Yeah,
but
it was 2001.
They hung around.
Yeah, they were around
I went
soundtracks.
on a date to see Zoolander.
I know it was 2001 2001 because
There
it
we
came
go.
out the same year as Spider-Man, and in both of them they had to delay the movie to cut the Twin Towers out of the movies.
Wow.
Spider-Man was 2002.
Oh, okay, well, but
Yeah.
both of them were delayed.
They had
was
to,
supposed to come
they,
out
they had to
today.
cut the
Yeah, that's
Twin
right,
Towers out of the Power Man 5000 album.
I don't remember the wrestler, but one wrestler used them as his entry music as well. I think it was the song Bombshell.
Oh God, let's see.
I think it was
Billy
like
Jack Haynes?
Oh, the Dudley Boys. The Dudley Boys.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Wait,
Dudley.
which song was it?
Bombshell by the
Bombshell.
Dudley
Yeah,
Boys.
Bombshell.
Yeah,
Let's give the Dudleys credit. If we could think of a wrestling team that's very 1999,
it'd be the damn Dudleys.
Dudleys.
Damn Dudleys, 3D, baby. So July 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and 25th, Woodstock 99. And if you want to hear all about Woodstock 99, we will refer you to episode 141, which came out on May 9th, 2017, where we tried to figure out if all of the artists in Woodstock 99 got into a fight, who would win.
Answer: George Clinton.
George Clinton and
Yeah.
Parliament Funkadelic, I believe, won.
I would say James Brown was a close second.
while we're on the topic though of Woodstock 99,
Yeah, absolutely.
what kind of money did that draw in? Since we're talking about big money for the music industry that year,
Probably not very much, considering how bad the whole thing.
Yeah, how
the
much
whole thing went
damage.
down.
Yeah.
By the time they probably paid off all the lawsuits and burned out corn dog huts.
Yeah.
so there was no Woodstock 2000.
No.
Yeah, they probably had a bunch of money for the Fire Fest.
Although, the Fire Fest next year. Think about it. It's
Oh, yeah.
2019.
Woodstock
50.
50, yeah.
The 50th anniversary of Woodstock is next year.
Is
so.
Mountain going to get back together?
On stage left, Mountain. On stage right, Little Yachty.
And I remember the promotion for this, 9/9/99, September 9th, 2009. Chris Rock hosted the MTV VMA Awards, which had the notable incident of the Backstreet Boys going to accept one of the Video of the Year awards. I think it might have been best group video or something, and a man trying to promote a future television show approached the mic, and this was like,
was this Kanye West?
No, it's after the Sean Colvin ODB incident, but way before the Kanye West incident. The Backstreet Boys are up there. One of them has cornrows. It's amazing. They're standing there. They're about to speak into the mic, and then this fucking nerd just wanders up, leans over to the mic, and just says,
"Wake up at 3."
"Wake up at 3." And then walks off stage, and it was a guy trying to pitch a stoner reality show about people who live in New York and wake up at 3:00. And then they actually got a pilot presentation out of it, and then they were like, "Get the fuck out of here! You're an idiot."
Yeah, who is
and now
this
he
guy?
writes for a magazine or
It's
something.
me, Austin. It was me all along. Higher
Son
power.
of a bitch!
Higher power.
Son of a bitch.
1999. The higher power reveal.
The higher power reveal, September 28th, 1999, In the Life of Chris Gaines, comes out, again covered at excruciating
Yeah.
length in episode 168 if you want to hear about Chris Gaines. That same day, and I think we mentioned this in the episode, Human Clay by Creed came out. And
Hell yeah.
Which one was that?
that's the one,
That's-
man.
Oh, that thing
Can
was
you
horrible.
take
Yeah.
me higher?
Higher, and then
I just heard
the news
today. It seems my life is gonna change.
Yeah.
This year also was the year in which the Scott Stapp Kid Rock sex tape was released.
Were they fucking each other?
No, they were getting.
That'd be amazing.
They were with groupies. They were getting serviced
Together?
in the same bus. Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
I missed that one.
I've never
gonna
watched
say.
it, but I mean, it's like
We'll find the clip. We'll pop it in right here.
sure.
Just audio of that.
Just audio of it.
Cut out the
Was
speaking.
Josie in it?
Oh God. Yeah, he's the fluffer. He's running around.
Let's be on that. Have we mentioned this before? Kid Rock lost.
Yeah.
When he lost Josie, he lost it.
So October 15th, Fight Club.
Looking for a way to change your life. You could not do this on your own. All the ways you wish you could be, that's me. I look like you want to look, I fuck like you want to fuck, I am smart, capable, and most importantly, I'm free in all the ways that you are not.
Try to
What did kids in dorm rooms posters? What was that before? Yeah.
Fight Club, Boondock Saints.
Yeah, and that poster.
Train
where it's
Spotting.
Like, beer quotes. Alcohol quotes. So many choices, so little time.
Y'all remember the one Belushi with the sweater that says college?
I have that one rolled up in the attic somewhere.
I had that one too.
Yep. My parents are still dealing with that poster.
I had a Scarface poster just as a joke. I just was like, I put this Scarface
Was
poster.
it the classic black and white, or was it the one where he's sitting in front of the palm trees with the gun?
Yeah, the one he's sitting in front of the palm trees with the gun with the sling.
We got the sling on? Fucking A.
Yeah,
Well, I meant before 1999, I think the only poster that you could put on your wall was the Pink Floyd poster, right?
Yeah, with the butts?
Yeah, that's the only one that was allowed.
Yeah, the one with the Adam Hart mother
So
girl
many
and-
choices, so little time.
I think that one is actually called Back Catalog.
Yeah,
if I'm
back
not
catalog is
mistaken.
what it's called. But there was the ones that were like so many choices, so many little time. It was just like beers or
I'm an ass man.
or like
so
whiskey.
many
Like,
asses. so little time.
that
stop
premiered.
on
I
a
think that
dime.
premiered in
It definitely
1999
did.
too.
That
Yeah.
one hit the strip clubs.
I'm an ass man.
And if you want to hear more about that, our Beyond the Mat episode featuring Luke Jensen, that came out October 22nd of 1999. That's episode 95 of this very podcast. November 14th, 1999. And I picked this date sort of arbitrarily, but mainly because they made the cover of Time magazine on this day. And shout out to Atlas Novak for sending me the exact magazine issue. Time magazine came out and it says, "Beware the Pokemania."
Oh, yeah, Pokemon.
Yeah, so
Pokemon, by the way, before it came out that year, it had hit the news once when the 1997 kids in Japan had seizures.
we're having seizures because of this
watching an
cartoon.
episode. So when this thing came out and hit big, I was like, wasn't that seizure show from a few years ago?
That seizure show.
Yeah, because I
It's
remember
the
that was-
unsuccessful follow-up to that 70s show.
Yeah, because that was like a thing that it was one of those like
It made the news.
local. It was like a local news jankum like craze where they were just like, oh, you don't know what your kids are doing. They're watching shows. They'll give them epileptic attacks. You know.
Right, Pokemon. Let's say this, right? It was everywhere.
Yeah.
When Pokemon launched, it was one of the biggest things I'd ever seen. Somebody was on the outside, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
go to the flea market every weekend, look at the Ninja Stars and things, the old wrestling magazines.
Yeah, the good shit.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah, the video games, maybe, some razor blades and stuff. Anyway, you go in there, and everything all of a sudden is all these posters of this kid with a yellow bunny on his head and everything like that. What is this shit? And then I started watching the cartoon, and I was like, oh, that's what this shit is.
Did you like the cartoon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
watched
fun,
it all
right?
the time. It was really stupid, and every episode was exactly the same.
What did it start as? Because like so many of these things, like
it was
Video
a
game.
video game.
okay, because like so many things, like Star Wars sure is like this multimedia kind of empire thing,
Right.
or whatever. But it's like it's the movie franchise. Everything else is secondary.
Yeah, exactly.
But like Pokemon is one where it's like the show, the cards, the game were all
The
like
movies,
equally
The
like
video, it's a Nintendo-owned property.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so. Okay,
The Game Boy game was actually the first thing.
okay, that's what I remember first. But I remember then like all of those things became kind of like equally like
The
huge
playing
parts of
card-
that
The playing
empire.
card was the one that the parents all noticed. So
Yeah.
at first it
Yeah.
seemed like, because remember Beanie Babies were big.
Yeah.
And it was like, if you're a parent, it was like, oh, now it's not Beanie Babies the kids want. Now it's Pokemon.
Yeah.
They smartly with the trading cards, by the way, they had a limited contract with Wizards of the Coast that we talked about on the trading cards episode from last summer. They had a brief contract with them, and the response was so huge, they immediately were like, fuck you guys, and just started printing the cards on their own.
It was gigantic.
Oh my god.
You could start your own Pokemon dream store.
You can literally start your own gym. You'll be the greatest Pokemon master.
Yeah, I get this. This must have been 1999 because I remember I was in 5th grade, 1999, 2000, and there was another kid in another one of the 5th grade classes in my school who the rumor was that his dad worked for Wizards of the Coast. I think this was still Wizards of the Coast still had the contract.
Right.
And he would every day he would show up to school with like 20 like foil Charizards.
Oh, that kid must have been hot shit.
And he would sell them at lunch, and he would like walk away at the end of the day with like $200 every day.
Oh my god.
They had to
Yeah.
stop kids from selling the thing.
Were they fake?
Yeah. I don't. As far as I know, they were real. Like they were still like in like the vacuum sealed like individual packs and stuff.
Schools and shit would like make rules. Remember, like the no Pokemon in the dojo. It's like no trading the cards and no selling.
Well, I mean, it was like it was probably fake because there was an episode of MacGyver about a person at a printing press was making fake baseball cards.
Okay.
His dad probably.
So, by the way,
bootleg.
This article, by the way, which came out in Time Magazine, was written by Howard Chua, Eon, and Tim Larimer. It's like I said, it's called "Beware the Pokemania," and I just wanted to read this. So, the Pokemon trading card craze is at the center of much of the controversy. Some behavior has been delinquent. A 6-year-old logged onto a Pokemon website, printed counterfeit copies of the cards to trade with gullible schoolmates. Other behavior can be criminal. Last week, a 9-year-old boy in Long Island stabbed an older classmate in a dispute over the cards.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude.
That's
this
a
shit
rough
is.
school.
A principal explained why her school, like many others, was banning Pokemon cards. Quote, children who don't have... Yeah, the stabbing mainly. Children who don't have Pokemon cards feel left out. When children bring Pokemon cards into the lunchroom, they also often spend time looking at the cards instead of eating.
When children spend cards in the lunchroom, they often spend time going for the knife as quickly.
We had to make we banned knives. No more plastic knives.
The reason I always bring up Pokemon in this year is because just as an outsider, to me, it was one of the biggest just like cultural phenomenons I'd ever seen happen. To me, it felt like if you were alive in 1962 or whatever, 3,
right?
And even if you were like 70 years old, you probably heard of the Beatles. And to me, Pokemon was like that. I went into a Burger King when they were giving away the little stuffed Pokemons in the like Happy Meals or whatever they call them in Burger King.
Yeah.
And the line was back to the damn door of just people ordering the Happy Meals. I had to admit it was one of the biggest like cultural phenomena I think I'd ever seen.
The Burger King Big Kids Meal. It has more of the great tasting food your kids love. Not to mention a little something else your kids may enjoy.
Pokemon.
Now inside every Burger King Big Kids meal you buy, your kids not only get more of the great tasting food they love, they get Pokemon toys and limited edition trading cards from Pokemon the first movie. Pokemon in the Burger King Big Kids meal. Come and catch them all.
Just little fun notes here. November 15th, Korn performs their entire album Issues at the Apollo Theater in New York City, becoming the first rock band to ever play the Apollo.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I want that sound clip isolated of Pat groaning and Luke saying, hell yeah.
I probably, the Sandman probably took a day off so he wouldn't do the little tap dance.
If Korn played the Apollo, then I think that audience deserves reparations.
November 16th, 1999, 2 seminal hip-hop albums came out. Dr. Dre's 2001, which is still a banger in my car even today because I'm fucking cool. And the other one, we all knew it was coming. It was upon us. The Willennium. Will Smith's
more like a seminal hip-hop album.
What, did that album make you horny, Pat?
I say this, it is seminal because it had Wiki Wah Wah Wah, and that hit the round at the strip club.
Yes.
I went to a lot of strip clubs at this time.
The strip club. Wait, Wild Wild West? Was it the strip club?
Wiki Wah Wah Wah.
I mean, it was that they're like some kind of like cowboy kind of costume coming out.
Yeah, a hot lady doing finger guns.
The movie that year.
Was this a separate song from the party like it's 1999? Hold it, it is.
Yeah, that's the same one.
Song.
Yeah, because he also has excuse you, Willennium.
Yeah.
Bringing it down. Why?
It's here and I like it. Instead of Sharia don't like it, it's here and I like it.
Oh man,
It sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it sounds like The Clash. It sounds exactly like The Clash.
I hope Joe Strummer got a lot of money.
10 years.
Yeah, he enjoyed it for exactly a year and a half.
Yeah.
I'm sure this set him into a depression when he heard it.
Don't stop the beat. No time to sleep.
Yeah. So Will 2K is the name of that song, and I for sure remember the used CD section absolutely bursting at the seams with copies of Will.
Oh yeah, it became the new REM monster
because Big Willie style was a legitimate cultural force, and then what had happened was Wild Wild West came out. Wild Wild West came out, and then they just popped that single onto
Wild Wild West.
Wiki Wah Wah West.
Which was Kenneth Branagh the villain in that?
Yes, he was. and he had spider legs.
You must not be a poker player, Mr. West. 4 of a kind always beats a pair. I like to beat my feet.
Oh, man, Mississippi Mud. He was the best part of that movie for a mile. I've deleted half my physical being for the Confederacy, sir.
Oh man, that movie is
That movie was terrible, but you know
amazing.
what? But you know what the problem was? That was back then. Nobody knew the word steampunk yet.
Yeah.
So that would have made the movie make sense to everyone. Instead, it was just like, what's this stupid science fiction western?
Yeah, I feel like I was going to say America had a choice in 1999. It was like, we're either going to go Matrix or we're going to go Wild Wild West. And they like firmly chose Matrix going forward.
Yeah, it was definitely Matrix.
They didn't go straight to the Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
I did, though. I went straight to the Wild Wild West after I saw Austin Powers 2. I snuck up into it.
Yeah.
Heather Graham was in that one, right?
Yeah, she
Wild Wild West? No.
No.
She was in Austin Powers
Austin
too.
Powers too.
Yeah, but that didn't matter because the Wild Wild West had Selma Hayek.
Yes, it did.
So it did have better eye candy than Austin Powers too.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it
Selma
had
Hayek-
Kevin Kline, for God's sake.
Selma Hayek is apparently super cool too. Like she's like cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure she regrets the movie as much as anyone.
Yeah, I forgot to mention the damn
Oh,
movie.
you know what the best part of the movie is? When he goes, Kenneth Branagh goes, Manhattan for a handful of beads. How?
But yeah, the Matrix. It was that cyberpunk sort of deal. Like I remember when that came out. I was heavy into that movie. I was like, this movie blows my mind. And then it has that Rage Against the Machine song.
Wake up at the end.
Wake up at the end.
Say, what pill did you take, Pat?
I took the purple pill.
That's D12. That's a year and a half later.
Yeah, no.
It's good for your back. Well, it really is.
I feel like the Matrix paid off what hackers started.
Oh, with Angelina Jolie?
Yeah. And Matthew Lillard.
The
And,
bad guy rode a skateboard or some shit, right? Remember that crap?
Is anybody familiar with the Wild Wild West TV show?
Yeah, it's nothing like that.
Okay, yeah, our friend at Kiryu Taylor asked us if it's
No,
the
it's
show's
not.
any
No,
good.
it wasn't.
It's much better. I think actually has one of the best theme songs of a TV western ever too. It's an excellent theme song.
Yeah, it had like he had gadgets and stuff, but it wasn't
it was
like
supposed to be like James Bond out west. So they used to call it back then a weird western.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so much steampunk because nobody had invented that shit yet.
Right. God, it's so fucking weird.
well, truly, The Matrix and The Phantom Menace launched 2 full trilogies with 1 good movie between them.
I don't know. I mean, one of them had Cornel West as an actor, which is pretty.
What the fuck?
I guess they were, looking at my bookshelf in college to figure out how to cast that movie.
The Matrix DVD was on most college bookshelves, so that makes sense. November 21st, 1999, Elian Gonzalez.
Oh, God, that was that year? All right, let me say this. When people started yapping about Elian Gonzalez, like if you're at work or people wanted to talk, listen to people talk about Elian Gonzalez was so boring. It made me wish they were talking about Columbine.
Okay.
First of all, if you don't know, by the way, Elian Gonzalez left Cuba on a small boat with 10 people. The boat capsized. 3 people survived and his mother died. Of the 3 people that survived, one of them was a young boy named Elian Gonzalez survived and was basically taken as a political asylum seeker and put up with his parents' relatives in Miami, and then there became like a big court case
because the father who lived in Cuba was like, what? Like Elian Gonzalez was essentially taken by his mother.
Right.
They were on the outs.
Yeah.
So she took Elian on the raft to go to the United States, and it became a big, because I lived in Florida at the time, and it was like, that was everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a level, like it was beyond Casey Anthony. It was like something that was all the time. Elian Gonzalez. And
you look at the day it happened, by the way, November 21st, 1999, right before Thanksgiving. So this is what everybody was fucking arguing about at Thanksgiving. It was infuriating. I remember it.
I was so sick of hearing about that fucking kid.
The most 1999 thing ever was a Flash animation.
It's already great.
Where they, that famous photograph that
I think I know where this is going.
that won the Pulitzer of the federal law enforcement individual with the gun.
Yeah.
And he's like getting the kid.
He's got the fucking gun in the child's face.
And it's basically one of the really great gems of 1999. They move the mouse and it's like, hey, what you doing, man? Oh, not much. Wait, I got another call.
I can match you on that. I can match you on that. I can match you on that.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Dudley Boys,
I can match you on that. I saw one with the still photo. The kid was photoshopped out, and a Pikachu was put in there, and it just had the caption "Gotta catch 'em all."
It's just like it would be back and forth, and their mouths were opening. It was like that was straight. Like that was the most 1999 thing I think personally
What was
that
up?
that annoying commercial that everybody for like it had resonance. It stuck like a residue.
Yo, pick up the phone. Hello? What's that? Yo, Duke. Yo. What's that? What's that? So what's up, B?
Watching the game, having a bud.
True.
quick update. July 16th, Elon Gonzalez received a degree in industrial engineering from the University of Matanzas.
Hold on, wasn't he like 6?
Well, now he's a man.
2008.
This is 2016. This is 2 years ago. And at his graduation, he read a letter from Fidel Castro to his graduating class.
And it said,
He said he vowed to fight from whichever trench the revolution demands, and he stated that although he did not regret returning to Cuba, he would like to travel to the United States one day to, quote, give my love to the American people.
Okay, I'll say we never let this idiot in.
Gonzalez now works as a technology specialist in a state-run company that makes large plastic water tanks. So he's doing great, guys.
So one day he'll come down from a plane and get off, and the plane will taxi, and then he'll come down the little walkway steps, and they'll go into customs, and he'll show his passport, and the guy will look at the passport and go,
if the Coast Guard sees a large plastic water tank floating this way from Cuba, send it back.
I mean, hearing that story of him is like as disappointing as that video of Jake Lloyd when he's older. Like,
oh my god,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? When he was like 18 or 20 or something. When he's just talking about like, yeah, that movie ruined my life.
Yes,
It's
yeah, where he's at the
horrible.
Comic-Con.
Yeah.
What is he bitching about? It ruined everybody's.
Yeah, so just, I mean, straight from an immigration fucking debate right into what half the country has become. John Rocker.
Oh, yeah.
Baseball player for the Atlanta Braves. First published December 27th, 1999. So he almost made it out of the 20th century without saying something fucked up, but was quoted in quoted in Sports Illustrated, and he answered a question about whether he would ever play for the New York Yankees or the New York Mets. Quote, I'd retire first. It's the most hectic, nerve-wracking city. Imagine having to take the 7 train to the ballpark looking like you're riding through Beirut next to some kid with purple hair, next to some queer with AIDS, next to some dude who just got out of jail for the 4th time, next to some 20-year-old mom with 4 kids. It's depressing. The biggest thing I don't like about New York are the foreigners. You can't walk a block in Times Square and not hear anybody speaking English. Asians and Koreans, Vietnamese, Indians, Russians, Spanish people, everything up there. How the hell did they get in this country? During the interview, he also spoke of his opinions of the New York Mets and the fans. Nowhere else in the country do people spit at you, throw bottles at you, throw quarters at you, throw batters at you, and say, hey, I did your mother last night. She's a fucking whore. I talked about what degenerates they are, and they proved me right. And now that's the president.
Well, that's Kenny Powers.
Yeah, well, it was first it was cute. It was Kenny Powers.
He shouldn't have said that shit, but he got too much hell.
I mean,
come on, no, seriously. All these ball players, they're just like dumb small town
idiots.
guys.
Yeah.
And now they have to play in this shit.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
what do you expect them to
they
fucking
can't-
say?
Right.
They
The problem is when you let an idiot near the levers of power.
No, the thing is he should have just understood, like, okay, I should just say New York City's a dump, and everybody in the world would agree, except New York.
Right, and it'd be appropriate baseball trash without having to get into
everybody
like...
would have loved the guy, but he went on too much.
Right.
See, if you got somebody like me who is very smart and very articulate and educated in that position,
yeah,
I would be like, I can imagine going on the 7 train and just being like, and everybody in Korea would be like,
This has to stay in this episode. You have to promise me. Do it as much as you want. This has to stay in this episode. Here we are, New Year's Eve 1999, and the biggest concern in the world. Y2J. Y2J, Chris Jericho. Yeah. No, Y2K, the Y2K problem. You know, we've got some younger listeners. If you don't know, everybody thought that when they coded computers originally, they only used 2 digits to indicate the year. So 1989 would be 89, for instance. And everybody was worried that when it rolled over from 1999 to 2000, the date would then go to 00, making all of the computers in the world believe that it was in fact the year 1900, and then nuclear weapons would launch.
And money would be shooting out of
the ATMs.
I thought we were sort of like everything would just go dark.
Right, yeah.
everything
Planes would fall out of the sky.
Yeah.
Like people thought that we would.
Computers would think, oh, we haven't been invented yet.
Yes,
They would just
yes.
And they would have a
No,
massive
seriously.
existential crisis.
It was like after 99, they'd go to 0 and shut off.
Yeah, seriously, that was the concern.
This is because people had nothing to worry about then.
Right.
Seriously. In the pre-9/11 America, it didn't matter if life was occasionally difficult, things like the Great Depression and all that. People didn't spend all their times afraid of everything. So they had to become afraid of imaginary things like the Y2K bug.
It could have been a problem, right?
I'm sure. Well,
it could have been, but the U.S. did a lot of Y2K preparation. But here was the thing. On New Year's Eve, New Year's happens throughout the world. So Australia's got it by noon?
Right.
So Italy, which did 0 Y2K preparation, all you had to do was watch it hit New Year's in Italy. And when everything didn't shut off, then you knew it wasn't going to happen here.
Right. Yeah.
By the middle of New Year's Day, everybody knew Y2K was a fraud.
Right,
Because it hadn't happened in the rest of the world.
Yeah. They did make people come in around at different banks and stuff like this, and they just interviewed a guy to talk about him coming in and working on New Year's Eve in case your Y2K actually happened.
The Y2K bug.
Yeah, the Y2K bug, and we'll put this on our Twitter so you can just see how fucking weird this guy looks. Here we go.
My wife isn't so thrilled about giving up the weekend, but $2,000 is going to make Valentine's Day a lot more sweeter.
The only problem I can think of, Jabroni, is the KY jelly problem.
Did you guys do any Y2K prep at all?
No, I don't think I did any. I mean, I don't know. I was 10 years old, so I don't remember if my parents did or not.
Yeah, I know your dad.
My dad's a doomsday prepper in general.
That's why I asked, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thinking back, he almost certainly did. I'm sure just didn't tell me about it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, that reminds me. My daddy actually did some.
Oh, what did he do?
He was saving up cans. And one day he had cat food up in there. And my mother says, oh, that's nice that you thought of the cat. And he said, to hell with that. They say you can eat cat food. I'm not making that shit
That's
up.
amazing. So wow. Oh, my God. Yeah, and then midnight hit, and then all of a sudden we were at 2000, and at some point,
and all the computers still worked.
All the computers still worked, and shit was rolling along, and all of the things that started in this year have now come to fruition to make our culture a fucking disaster.
But
that's where it all started.
At the end of the day, we still have a lot to have.
You know it, come on. Are you ready? Sin, 2000, 0, party up. Cause tonight we gonna party like it's 1999. Do you feel me? New York City. It goes like this.
Luke, where can people find you on the internet, sir?
Twitter and Instagram at Luke F. Jensen.
You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/TheGoodsPod. We're on Twitter at TheGoodsPod. Every episode ever, youtube.com/TheGoodsPod. Shout out to our friend Richard Eden up there in the Klondike doing the hard work at TheGoodsPod.com. Pat, what should the folks do when they get to iTunes?
Rate, review, subscribe, hit us up on social media, ask us what's up. Especially do that to Rivers.
My biggest memory of "What's Up" is like on a flyer for a church lock-in, and it was a cartoon of a guy dunking a basketball, and it just said "What's up?" up! Church locking Saturday,
I thought
10
you were
p.m.
gonna-
to 8 a.m.
I guarantee, pardon the blasphemy, I guarantee you, somewhere in America, there was a church sign that said, "What's up with Jesus?" Find out this Sunday.
If Jesus Christ came down from heaven tomorrow and looked at you and said, "My son," because it shows the attitude of gratitude.
And if you don't have the attitude of gratitude, fuck you.
And we'll see you next week.
Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 99, wear sunscreen. If I could offer you only one tip for the future, sunscreen would be it. The long-term benefits of sunscreen have been proved by scientists, whereas the rest of my advice has no basis more reliable than my own meandering experience. I will dispense this advice now.
The Goods from the Woods was mixed, edited, and distributed by me, Rivers Langley. You can find the show on Twitter at The Goods Pod. Our theme song was composed by DJ Smiles. Check him out on Twitter at DJ Smiles.